There's no time.
The time is
13
o'clock.
Well, hey there. It's episode 125.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch.
This has been requested by a bunch of different people. I didn't know shit about this, honestly.
Yeah, we researched it for a little while.
Yeah.
Jenny did most of the research on it.
Well, you even watched some documentaries.
Yeah, I watched some documentaries.
So you actually kind of know something about it.
Yeah, I got a feel for the case, I guess. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through this, slowly and try to weed through it. I mean, it's a lot of different reports around this case, and
yeah, this kind of has a little bit of everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and once you start seeing stuff like this, you got to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. If you ask me.
I mean, I think I get the impression that the most people know about it. They probably know about it mostly for the copious UFO sightings or supposed UFO sightings. But there's so much other fun shit going on supposedly in this area. There's cryptids, poltergeist activity,
bulletproof coyotes, or
dimensional
bulletproof
portals.
Wolves. Yeah.
All kind of neat stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like a vortex of paranormal
Right.
craziness right in one little spot.
We got to approach this with an open mind and give everything a fair shake, but you have to look at everything individually in this case. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah, and some of the
makes
stuff
you
is
wonder
a
what's
lot
going on.
crazier.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is a lot crazier than others.
Yeah.
As we will see. But like I said, this has been requested at least 2 times. And so this is kind of fits in with our whole paranormal. We don't do a lot of UFO things, but this is not just UFO. There's a bunch of other shit going on too. So let's see. Before we get into that, let's do our little shout outs at the beginning. As I said, Faceless Villain, Volume 2. Man. The audiobook is finally out. It went up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something like that.
Flying off the shelves.
It's really been selling very well, and I'm very excited. And it seems to be back selling some of the first volume too, which is
Unseen
neat.
Hand.
Yeah, and so that's really good. So thanks to everybody that bought that.
It's generating interest in the older stuff too.
I know. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna try and get volume 3 out this year in 2019. And hopefully it won't take as long as the last one.
Well,
I'll try and plan it better.
From what we've been finding out, really, to do a well-researched book that's of a decent size that the market will want to buy, you're talking about a year.
That's about how long the last one took. It didn't take a year to write it, but it took...
That's how long it takes to get it to market.
Yeah, it took 6-7 months to write it, and then, doing the audiobook, because I had so many technical difficulties, so that took a lot longer.
That's right. We may be able to trim a couple months off that.
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm trying to get it right the first time, because we're building a soundproof booth in here.
Yeah, when the sound booth's done and the equipment, it might be able to take a couple months off.
So it won't take, so hopefully
maybe
I won't have
10
to do
months.
it. So hopefully I won't have to do it over.
Yeah.
Like I did before, 2 or 3 times, because all the files were fucked up.
Yeah, it's kind of discouraging, and then other things kind of come up, but maybe we can get it in 10 months.
But yeah, so if you haven't bought it, and if you would like to buy it, like I said, when and if I get the codes for the free ones, I'll be sending them out to the patrons first, and then if I have any left, I'll kind of open it up to the general public. But if you would like to purchase one, and you want to do a sister a solid, then if you do not have an Audible account already, then you can go to Audible and sign up for an account. And if my book is the first one you buy, and you have to use the link, so I'll put the link in the description. It has to be that particular link, otherwise it doesn't, otherwise I don't get it. Yeah. But if that's the first book you buy after you sign up for Audible, then I get a bounty.
$75.
$75 per, yeah. So, that's really cool. Yeah. They used to have it, like I said, anytime somebody signed up for Audible and yours was the first book they bought, they'd give you $50 automatically. Now they give you more, but they make it a little bit harder. They have, you have to have a specific link. So.
Yeah, it has to be somebody you've recruited.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing. Yeah,
that's what that link is for.
Yeah.
And then how long do they have to be an Audible member? What's the minimum on that? Do you remember?
Oh, I'm not really sure.
I don't think
I thought you could cancel anytime. I thought it was kind of a thing where... Because I know some things are like, you have to have 3-month minimum or blah blah, but I think you can just pretty much cancel anytime. I don't know.
We don't know the details.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it works. So but I'm just saying, if you're not already an Audible member, if you are an Audible member, then you can just go in there and buy it regular, and obviously I'll get royalties from that.
Yeah, and you get it for free.
Yeah.
You get your first copy for free, right?
They have some
Just
kind
sign
of
up for
thing
order-
where if you
yeah.
sign up, like you get one book for free or something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you get it for free, but then I think they do have to buy some other books. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not.
Right.
I should probably like look into that one of these days, but
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about it.
It's not really our end of the business.
Yeah, I'm just
'Cause-
kind of
'cause
I'm just
we-
kind of worried about putting
It
them up there.
sells. It sells no matter what. You know what I mean? We haven't really been focusing on recruiting for Audible.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe
but-
we should.
Well, yeah, maybe that's something
Yeah.
we should probably look into.
$75 a head.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad at all. But yeah, so there's that whole thing. Also, for our last movie retrospective, if you didn't see it, we actually did a new movie, Mandy, with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That crazy acid trippy kind of movie. And actually, we got a really good response for that. But I think that, you know, from here on out, we'll probably be doing old ones. We're going to try and do, you know, because like I said, you know, we have Shudder and Shudder keeps adding. They add new ones, but they add like old classics all the time too. Like shit, just a couple days ago they added The Changeling, for heaven's sakes, even though we already did a retrospective on that.
I think we ought to kind of open it up and just do movies that we find that are important. So if they're
Yeah.
important to recommend, then we recommend them.
I mean, I like.
Maybe we should just look at it that way
Yeah.
because I'd like to do Tusk.
Yeah, that was a crazy
Yeah,
ass
that-
movie.
yeah.
Somebody was just
Yeah.
talking about that in the
Yeah,
comments.
Jair was mentioning
Yeah,
that.
that's
so
right.
said-
And it's like,
and maybe we ought to talk about Tusk.
that was a weird.
That
ass
was a
movie.
weird flick.
I kind of want to see the other ones because, well, the other one because I think Kevin Smith, he's doing a trilogy. I don't think he's made the third one yet, but the first one was called Yoga Hosers. And I think that they have that on Netflix, or they did last time I looked. So I might have to watch that as well. I don't think you have to, I don't know if the stories are connected. I think it's more like a thematic trilogy than a plot-based trilogy, but that I liked the fact that I went into it not knowing anything about it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
all I knew was the title, and
Yeah.
somebody recommended it, and I was just like, okay, we'll watch that. Somebody told me this was all right, and I was watching going, what the fuck
Talking
am I
about Tusk,
looking
right?
at? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's best if you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Just go watch one called Tusk. And hold
Don't
on.
read a Wikipedia page. Don't do
Yeah.
anything like
No,
that, because I had no idea where it was
Yeah,
going.
and just try to work that one out with yourself when you see that one, you know, just... Because I had to work that one out for a while. It's
He
like-
was thinking about that for days
I was like,
afterward.
what? Okay.
Going, but like we'd be laying there at night, and he'd be like, "Yeah, but why though? Like, why did
Yeah.
this happen? And why?
Yeah,
you know,
were
what was
those
that
the
about?"
eyes of a... Were those the tears of a walrus or the tears of a man at the end?
Or the
you know?
tears of a clown?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Weird.
But yeah, the weird ass movie. I guess it's still on Netflix. But yeah, so like you said, I mean, like I said, since it's a retrospective, I like to kind of stick with older movies and like movies that we grew up with. But if we see new ones that we really, really like and want to do a show about, then yeah, we can
Yeah,
totally
I think we
do that.
should. Yeah,
can
we'll just kind of do the ones that are important. We won't, you know, it's mostly going to be older movies, but
Yeah,
sometimes there's new stuff that appears that you got to mention it.
yeah, and I think we definitely will.
Yeah.
We can open it up because, like we said, we did Blade Runner 2049, and we've done like
Yeah,
newer movies before
true.
too.
Because
So
it's too important to pass up. We got to, you know, give them a heads up. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
you know, if people want recommendations for newer stuff that we thought was
Right.
good, then that would be good too. Also, obviously, if you'd like to financially support the show, you can go to our Patreon page. And we got 2 new patrons this week, Rob and Richard. So, hey, you guys.
Oh, I didn't know about
very
those.
much. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I told you about one of them, but I think we
Okay.
just got the other one like today or yesterday.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so thank you very much. We appreciate any little help you can
Channel's
give to
growing.
the show. Yeah.
Channel's growing.
We have almost 5,000 subscribers on YouTube
Yeah.
now. Isn't that neat?
Trying to get the patron support up to around 1,000. When that happens, but that'd be cool.
We're almost halfway there.
We're about halfway there.
Hooray!
Yeah,
I
that'll
didn't
make
ever
a big
think that would
difference.
happen. Yeah. But so I think that's probably all of the shout outs we had to do, right? I can't think of anything else that we had to
That'd be it.
talk
Let's
about.
get into this case.
Let's talk about the Skinwalker Ranch. Now,
Skinwalker Ranch.
apparently, reportedly, allegedly, even before there was a homestead on this particular piece of northeastern Utah,
Yeah.
there were Native American legends about how this ground was cursed, or there was, you know, they call it in the path of the Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Hence why it's called Skinwalker Ranch. If you don't know what a Skinwalker is, it's kind of like a Navajo witch who like dresses up as animals and like turns into animals. Like it's essentially like a werewolfy type of thing.
I associate this case a lot with Art Bell. Because
Yeah.
this was like on Art Bell's Coast to Coast a lot. That's when I first heard about it.
Well, it's just such a rich vein of...
Yeah. And Knapp was behind it. What was his name again?
Yeah,
George Knapp?
I think it was George.
George
That was
Knapp.
his first name.
who he was on there a lot talking about this case.
Yeah.
That and this other guy who was like a real estate investor. Oh man, I forgot his name right now.
Bigelow?
Bigelow, yeah.
Yeah.
Bigelow was involved with this too, and he did a bunch of contracting work and.
Well, because I think he bought the ranch later on.
He's into the paranormal, so he wanted to know what was up.
He wanted to set up like a research center.
Yeah, he was into UFOs and stuff, so he set up kind of like a scientific research unit there to try to figure out what was going on at this location, which that in itself is kind of strange. I mean, you have I guess he's a billionaire now. He's at least a millionaire.
Yeah.
This ultra rich guy who's bought a piece of property that he thinks it's a bunch of paranormal activity going on, and he sets up a special paranormal unit to investigate it.
Yeah.
Pretty weird, Makes you think something might be going on there.
Yeah, although who knows
UFO
what it is.
Stuff. Right.
It might be, because like I said, that seems to be the bulk of their reports seem to be about like UFO type shit or like interdimensional being type shit.
Yeah, and I think Bigelow also was doing things like making drones for the government, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? There's all these rumors of like alien and human crossbred technology to make drones, and that's just how I remember it. You know what I mean? I didn't. You know how Art Bell was. The guy had a good show, and Art Bell was a very charismatic guy, and he could make even a boring subject sound really mysterious with the way his voice, just the way he presented things.
Yeah.
And Art Bell didn't believe everything that he covered on his shows. No.
Because some of that shit was...
No, he'd tell you, later on, I don't really believe that, or I don't really... But watching the show, any one of his radio shows that watching him, there was no audio. It was just all audio. It was all radio. Listening to his show, no matter what the topic was, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And this Skinwalker Ranch was one of those topics. It was on there regularly. So that's mostly what I remember about this.
Although I feel like even though the history of this place seems to go back a long way, I feel like it didn't seem to seep into the public consciousness until later, until like books started coming out about it like in the 2000s.
Yeah,
maybe.
Bigelow was trying to keep the location of the place secret, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was mentioned, if you found that out in your research, but everybody knows where it is now.
Everybody knows where it is.
But there was a time in which he was trying to keep the location of it secret.
Yeah. But apparently, like I said, so the Ute tribe, which lives in that area, supposedly they had all these stories about this place that, skinwalkers, it was like cursed and shit like that. The area known as Skinwalker Ranch nowadays is about 480 acres. Like I said, it's in northeastern Utah.
That's big.
Yeah, it's a very large piece of land. And it's near a military base, Fort Duchesne, or however you pronounce that. It looks like Duchesne, but I'm assuming that it's probably Duchesne because that's like French.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I said, apparently skinwalkers had been seen in this area like a long time ago, looking like men with dog heads, or like smoking cigarettes for whatever reason, or like big ass werewolf looking people with red eyes.
Based on the size of it,
like
that would be a good facility to build things like drones in secret.
Yeah.
For the government.
It looks like it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I've never been to Utah, but...
So who knows if Bigelow bought this, and that was just a cover story that he gave, too, I'm buying it to research the paranormal. Maybe it was just a secret facility where he could make drones. I don't know.
Maybe he's a supervillain and he's building like a big fucking lair or a death ray or something like that. I don't know, I just pulled that out of my ass.
Yeah, right.
But, all right, so... Apparently, the first kind of rumblings that something was weird about the place, according to the website for Skinwalker Ranch, skinwalkerranch.org or whatever it is, first kind of came about. Now, the first time that a homestead was built on it was apparently in 1905, and this was the Myers family. I'm not sure if because apparently this particular family lived there until like 1987, right? So they either moved into it in 1905 or sometime in the 1930s. I kind of got differing sources on that. But they did apparently live there. They built a homestead there, and the family lived there for decades and decades. Now, these people that lived here apparently never reported anything weird from either 1905 or 1930s up until 1987. But other people in the area did, like other ranchers and, you know, other people in the neighborhood, because some of the Ute tribes around there said that, well, it's not so much the skinwalkers like on that particular piece of land, it's usually like on the ridge that's like right above there, which they called Skinwalker Ridge or Werewolf Ridge or whatever it is that it's called. So this Myers family's been living here, but apparently from around 1906 to 1911, people who lived around the area reported stuff like explosions that they weren't really sure where they were coming from, like underground rumbling type noises, like earthquakey type activity, that kind of stuff that they never could determine where exactly it was coming from or what exactly was causing it. And that seems like that was pretty much the main thing before then.
There wasn't any mines in the area.
Oh, I don't know. It seems kind of likely that it was. It's
right.
Interesting that they mentioned this as like an unusual thing, because that seems like there could be a really reasonable explanation.
Yeah, it might be something was blasting.
That. Right. Especially way out there in the fucking desert.
Right, looking for gold and stuff in the early 1900s.
Gold!
Yeah.
So then, around the 1950s and 1960s, this is when you start seeing like an upswing in UFO reports. Not so much on the ranch itself, but in the surrounding area. So, you know, people are seeing stuff that looks like, I mean, the reports are apparently like all over the map. Fireballs, aircraft that look like 20 to 30 feet across, aircraft that are as big as a football field. Some of them were round, some of them were cigar-shaped or saucer-shaped, some of them were ovals, some of them were triangles, some of them had red lights, some of them had green lights. So the kind of the,
so just across, just all
yeah,
over
the
place.
descriptions of it were just all over the place. But apparently there were a lot of them in the decades between the 1950s and 1960s.
Okay,
and
now the source of these is just what? This is what
just
other
all over the place. It was
other
like
researchers have said that they found out that these reports had happened.
Yeah, and
okay.
I found a couple old ones in like old newspapers
Okay.
from around then,
Okay.
from in that area.
Okay, so what that means is that you're not talking about a situation where modern researchers are just saying, pulling
Right.
it out of their ass, oh yeah, they've been seeing UFOs here for 100 years. So there actually were UFO reports in the newspapers.
There
that
were a
went-
couple
yeah,
small
okay.
ones, yeah.
Okay.
So evidently, by the time the 1970s rolled around, the highway patrol, they were saying like, well, we're not even coming out there for the reports anymore, just because there's so many, and you know, we never find anything when we come out there, so we're just assuming that it's either people making it up or it's something that's, you know, completely mundane, and you know, we don't even want to bother
Kind of reminds
investigating
me of
it.
some of that stuff about ghost lights. It's
Yeah.
just always kind of, you know, always, I don't think it's ever been, you know, really properly explained, has it?
Well, there's
Ghost
one
lights.
one famous set, I can't remember where it's at,
Yeah.
but there was one very famous set that were supposedly ghost lights and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think they did determine later on that it was headlights, but seen like in a really strange way. Like the way the land was, like made them reflect weirdly,
Okay.
like on the mountains or whatever. So you could see them like in a
Yeah.
place where you wouldn't normally
Yeah,
see them
there was
if it was flat.
I saw one show where they actually sat out there and just looked at them, and they could see them.
Yeah.
And you know, there wasn't any roads out there. There was like a small hills
Yeah.
out, you know. And when they approached them, they vanished. But it was a mirage-like phenomenon. They didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
This type of stuff, like ghost light type stuff, where you're just seeing lights in the distance like that. I mean, there's so many things that could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like weird atmospheric phenomenon. It could be fireflies. It could be far away headlights.
Not out in the desert. More
Well, you know, depending on where
quartz, maybe like quartz under a lot of pressure underneath the earth. They say
Yeah,
it can
that
make
too.
weird quartz lights and stuff.
Yeah. And actually, some of the stuff that I was reading about Skinwalker Ranch has said that
Geologic
it's
pressure.
possible that there could
Yeah.
be geological pressure that's causing a couple of the things, like a
Okay.
couple of the weird light sightings and stuff like that. Now, in 1978, and this was one where I found actually quite a big article from the 1978, August 1978 Deseret News online, which I found the original article. Now, apparently there was a mass UFO sighting in August of 1978. This was about 10 miles away from the ranch, though. So the first person to report seeing it was a 13-year-old boy, and his name was Dale Wood. And he was, I guess, him and his family, like all that kind of lived in this big sprawling trailer park or something like that. So he was walking from his house to his grandmother's trailer. And he said while he was walking, it was about 10:30 p.m. on August 11th. He's walking to his grandmother's trailer, and he sees this big silver dome-shaped object that had intense green lights coming out of it that were jagged. He said it was like flames, kind of, like it was coming out of it. Now, he said that while it was kind of over there, he could hear like a softly purring engine, but then it kind of went right over his head, and he said then he couldn't hear it anymore. Now, he said when he looked up and looked up at the bottom of it, he could see the bottom, he could see the intense green light. He said the light in the middle was way more intense than it was around the edges, and it was like a bright, bright green.
It was dome-shaped.
Yeah.
Huh.
He said also, he told the newspaper that he got the distinct feeling that it was watching him. So he said it starts circling. So his aunt's house was like right there. So he ran over there and he called his mom, who was at his grandmother's house, which is where he had been walking to. Now, his mom was obviously like, knock it off, kid. I don't believe you. But then apparently a bunch of appliances at the grandparents' house, like the air conditioner and all the TVs and stuff, like all shut off at once. Okay. Which they thought was very weird. They also reported that the dogs were acting really weird, like whining and barking and looking at nothing and stuff.
Well, he saw it. What happened to it?
Well, that's what we're going to get to that. And
Okay.
then the mom comes outside of the trailer, and then she said she saw it too.
Okay.
The same thing. She described it the same way. And then they said, well, then we got the impression that it kind of went over there and landed someplace. And then they said we heard far away, like the sound of like a herd of horses running, like they were afraid of something and they were like getting the fuck out of there. So at this point, the mom calls the police department, which was the Ute Indian tribe police department, that was their jurisdiction. They sent an officer out. His name was David Murray. He comes out to the site, and he also told the newspaper that he saw the exact same thing. He said it's a silver dome-shaped thing with green lights coming out of it. When they first reported it, they found out later on that there was this other woman. She was a reporter. Her name was Mrs. Rasmussen. And she was driving along a road, like right nearby, with her 10-year-old grandson in the car. And she said, hey, we saw that thing too. It's like we saw it over the car, and we pulled over on the side of the road and got out to look at it. And so she said it, went over the car, and then it flew off to the north, like kind of went behind the mountains.
So there were several sets of witnesses.
Yeah, that all
At
said
least
they
two.
saw pretty much the same thing.
Just a dome-shaped object with a green bright light in the center of it. And
Yeah.
what? Like little flame, green type.
He said they looked like flames. He said they were jagged like flames. That's
coming
like
around
the
the
shape.
edge. Did
I guess that was the impression I got. And he
Weird.
said it was large, but he didn't specify like how large. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, are we talking about the size of a bus large? Are we talking
Right.
about like a football field large? What kind of large are we talking about?
Right.
But he didn't really say.
And then it landed.
Yeah. So
I mean, shit, that might be even a balloon. It's hard to say.
yeah, they said they got the impression
It was at
that
night,
landed.
though, right?
It was about 10:30, 11 at night.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a balloon. Maybe one of those Chinese lanterns.
Yeah.
But that'd be it,
Because
They
those are
saw
kind
something.
of UFO looking.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, you can make a Chinese lantern look really UFO looking. I saw one look just like an owl when I was in Brazil.
We've
see it from a
talked about
distance. It
doing
was-
that.
Yeah, it was made. It looked just like a perfect image of an owl sitting on a branch. It was to symbolize a school.
That's
It
pretty
made
cool.
it. Yeah, it looked good.
I keep telling him, I'm like, man, if we had the resources and stuff, we could do like one of those lanterns
Yeah.
and just kind of release it and then just
And see if there's UFO reports.
how many
We've
UFO
thought about
reports.
that.
We've thought about it. Well, we've ruined it now. We can't
Yeah,
do it.
and it's they're made out of nothing but just colored like crepe paper
Yeah.
and little candles, or crepe paper wrapped around little sterno cans.
Yeah.
And they're all tied together, and they're all on little balsa wood rods to fix them all. And the image itself is one mass of small 1 foot in diameter crepe paper hot air balloons, and they
Yeah.
light up. And whatever color you make the balloon out of, that's kind of like a pixel in the picture.
Yeah.
And they kind of make it's a 2D statue that look like a damn owl sitting on a branch.
That sounds awfully
And it takes a
funny.
bunch of people to launch it,
Yeah.
You got to light them as they go, and then and it starts to get lighter and lighter. It takes a bunch of people, and then eventually you got the thing where it's got enough force to start pulling itself up, and then you're lighting them on the bottom, and you know what I mean. Each level, you're lighting it as it goes, and then it takes off.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. But I
Yeah,
could
I've seen
see
them do
how
it.
one that was just round or, was just oval shaped. I mean, if you didn't know what that was,
Yeah.
you would for real think it was a UFO. I would think it was a UFO because that's not the first thing that your mind jumps to. They don't really have those a lot here, I guess. You know what I mean? Because you saw them mostly in Brazil. That's
Yeah,
like
it was
kind
in
of
Brazil.
a Brazilian
There was
thing.
one, the big UFO from Close Encounters, the one that looked like the big UFO city.
Yeah.
They made one that looked like that. And it was just a bunch of balsa wood rods.
That's delightful.
In that shape, yeah, and it had looked like a big flying
Oh,
jellyfish.
man. I wish I'd seen
Like a big
that.
old jellyfish. But, the size of the things are kind of... Now, Brazilians will know. If any of the Brazilians are out there, you can confirm this, in the comments section. Brazilians can make those little Chinese lanterns look like anything. If you got
Yeah.
enough Brazilians and enough paper and enough balsa wood, you can make it look like anything. Because they chip in to make it. And, man, they're fantastic. Unbelievable. You see it, you go... what I'm saying, they were deceptive. You can't really tell how big they are.
Yeah.
It might only be about 30 or 40 foot in diameter. But
That's
at a
pretty big,
distance,
though.
it looks even bigger than that, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Because you don't have a sense of scale.
Right. Yeah. You just see like a thing like floating in the sky.
And you're not sure how far away it is or
Yeah.
how high it is. But it'll be bright. And you're like, that thing must be, the size of a foot of an arena. You're like, no, it's more like about 40 feet in diameter. But it looks huge for some reason.
Huh.
Because you
know.
can't tell how far away it is.
I want to see some of those.
You can probably find them on YouTube.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll
Yeah.
have to look that up. Just remind me.
Yeah.
Okay, so after this other report of it, then there's this guy. His name is Junior Hicks. His name's actually James Hicks, but he's known as Junior. He's a science teacher, but he is also a UFO investigator in the area. So he comes out to check out what's going on. Now, during the course of his investigation, he doesn't see anything in particular, but he kind of interviews a bunch of people around there and finds out that there was actually 2 more witnesses. There were these women that were out riding horses, like along the ridge or out in that area or whatever, and they said they saw the same thing and they described it the same way. The same newspaper article from the Deseret News also said there was another sighting of the same thing on August 28th. And this was by a whole family. They were dairy farmers. Their names were Eva and Lawrence Justice, and they had an 18-year-old son named Jimmy, who was the first one that saw it. So they described it exactly the same way: silver dome-shaped object, green lights, whole 9 yards. They actually got the same impression that it drifted off and landed someplace. So they went over there, or at least the mom went over there, and she said, I'm going to go find out where that went. And she went over there to where they thought that it landed, but there was nothing there. So they never did find anything. So that was in 1978. And like I said, that was in the real newspaper, and there was a big 2 or 3 column article about it and everything. And there was a whole bunch of people that apparently saw it and described it the exact same way.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to shit on that sighting. I mean, there are UFOs. They're
Yeah.
unidentified.
Yeah.
Some of them might actually be extraterrestrial craft. You don't know.
Yeah. So what this was, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
there's a
apparently
couple
whole bunch of people
reports. I
thought-
think some of these reports are not easy to dismiss, especially when you got the military and the police involved with seeing them.
Yeah.
Or just massive amounts of people calling in to 911. They're seeing something in the sky, like over in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were flares, but the flares were after the sighting.
Yeah.
Flares, the Air Force put those flares up in the Phoenix side. You guys
Well,
know.
because that was later.
It was
The
several
flares
hours
were
afterwards.
Several hours after all the
Right.
phone calls and everything.
But if you just all you do is you just... as soon as I saw the interviews with the 911 operators, I was like, yeah, they saw something. You're not
Yeah.
going to get that many calls into 911, And then they said the other 911 operators were getting called. So it came down the entire state.
Yeah.
A wave of sightings. Something was in the sky.
Yeah.
Some people say it's ultralight planes with lights on it in formation. Other people say, no way.
Yeah, I mean, that just because, obviously a lot of people saw something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's extraterrestrial. Doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to fool a lot of people, though.
that's what I mean.
consistently.
If it was obviously one thing, you
Yeah.
wouldn't get that many
Right.
911 calls, I
You know,
feel
right.
like. Maybe you might get a few from dumb people. That
We
didn't
live
know
near
what
an
it was.
airport. There's always airplanes in the sky. We're not calling 911 when we see an
Yeah,
airplane
we
in
have
the sky.
a Sanford Airport is
It's
only
right here.
4 or 5 miles from our
Yeah.
house, so the planes go pretty much right over the house.
Yeah, and sometimes from certain angles they look like a flying triangle.
It does.
But I
yeah.
know it's a plane,
Yeah.
So
that's why sometimes if you hear rumbling while we're
Yeah.
doing the show, that's what that is. That's an airplane going over from Sanford International Airport.
Yeah, when people are calling 911 about it in huge numbers, It's because it's unusual.
Yeah, that's a weird looking thing
Yeah.
that a lot of people don't know what it is.
And let's just say it was unusual.
Yeah.
And the Air Force got involved.
Yeah. So.
Somehow. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like after that, like I said, probably if that had been all it was, like, you know, if people had just seen like UFOs and like weird lights there and shit like that, I feel like probably Skinwalker Ranch would barely be a blip on the map. However, then came 1994 when the Sherman family moved in. I'm not sure if this is actually their names because I've seen them called Terry and Gwen Sherman, but I've also seen other sources say, oh, these are their pseudonyms because they didn't want their real names getting out, I guess. So apparently, like I said, the Myers family had been living on Skinwalker Ranch since either 1905 or since the 1930s. This is a very long time. They left the ranch in 1987. I believe the father died and the wife was still there, but then she finally either died or moved away or whatever. So they all left. Now, after that, the land, the homestead was empty for 7 years. But then Terry Sherman comes along and buys the property for apparently, and if you see an Amityville Horror, you should know this is a red flag right here. It's 480 acres, and he got it for like a steal, like a really, really good deal. You know what I mean? Which, there's always desert, a reason for that. Yeah.
It is desert.
But apparently it was a nice piece of land.
Right.
And he was like amazed. He's like, wow, I can't believe it was so cheap. Because he was a cattle breeder and a rancher. And he's like, he'd been wanting to like, you know, breed prize cattle. And he's like, this is a perfect piece of land. And he was so excited. So it was them and their 2 kids. And they move onto the land in summer of 1994. And they just can't believe their luck. It's just this amazing thing.
Well, I guess it's not desert. It's scrub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a mixture. It looks like California, Southern California. And that's mostly a desert scrub brush.
Yeah.
What else? Isn't that what... Yeah, that's what they call it. Scrub.
Yeah.
Like stage brush.
Sagebrush.
Stage, I think. Is that what it's called?
No, sagebrush.
Sagebrush? Okay.
Not stagebrush.
Yeah, all right.
that's something else. That's not a thing.
Kool
I know. You haven't even got through your first Kool yet. It's Saturday night, you guys. But, yeah, so. Now, the story goes that the first weird thing they noticed, and this is like straight out of a haunting episode, when the family moves into the house, is that the previous owners, supposedly the Myers family, even though, like I said, as far as I know, the Myers family never reported anything weird happening in the house or on the land or anything in particular. But apparently, so they move in and the previous owners have put deadbolt locks on all the doors and windows. On both sides, and ones inside the house, too.
Yeah.
Even, like, the kitchen cabinets and shit like that had deadbolts on them. So they were like, that's a little strange.
Maybe they had somebody living in the house at one time or another that had Alzheimer's, so you had to keep them locked out.
Yeah, maybe that's
walk around, going into your room all the time. That's all I can think of.
Or maybe somebody was trying to be on a diet and there's like, look, I'm putting the Oreos in this kitchen cabinet and I'm locking it up.
Or you had a kid running around trying to get into your room all the time.
Trying to pull your shit out of it. Yeah, there are other. I mean, that's an extreme solution.
But
granted.
It is weird.
Yeah, I would be a little weirded out, like if I went into the house and there was deadbolts all over everything.
Yeah, before we go too far into this case has a shit ton of stories.
Yeah.
Most of them are kind of unrelated. So we can't tell them all within the scope of a 1 hour or 2 hour show.
I'm gonna focus mostly on
like the main ones.
On the Sherman family.
The Sherman family, okay.
And plus I found an account of a guy who worked there, who said he worked there between 2003 and 2005. Okay. And he saw a couple weird things too.
Right.
And I also want to get into like a little bit like all the different phenomena that had been reported. Yeah. Because that was on the web. They had a whole different, it's so cute. Like on the website, they have a whole little thing of like all the various things that have been reported there.
Yeah.
And just like I'm reading it and some of it sounds kind of reasonable, like, oh, you know, this particular light or this particular shape UFO or whatever, and then they just get weirder and weirder as you go down.
Yeah, well, the place is known as a paranormal hotspot. So when you go into an area like that has a reputation like that, you probably have a much greater propensity to keep your eyes open for anything that's weird.
Yeah. And even stuff that isn't
you might
weird.
Start to notice things that maybe seem weird, so you report them. Right. So there's always going to be a lot more reports around a certain place that had a lot more reports. Kind of like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of traffic in that area. A lot of bad stuff happens. So, yeah, it's the triangle. I think it's more statistical.
It is statistical.
Statistical.
It's just because there's way more shipping lanes.
Right. So,
in that particular area. So yeah, you're going to get more accidents.
I've kind of seen an overview of the of the cases and the reports that have happened in this area, and I think it's, I think that some of this stuff is happening, but part of it is there's a synergy behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People go here expecting to see something, and they do because they're looking.
Well, and like you said, I think that's the case in a lot of famous haunted house.
Yeah.
Things too, because if a house gets a reputation for being haunted,
you might make that sucker haunted.
Then then you might. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're going to go in there and any little creak you hear is going to be, oh shit, that's the ghost. Even though if it was a regular house, you probably wouldn't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Or you might freak yourself out so badly that it does become haunted. Who knows? Maybe it might have a synergy that you know what I mean, that
you make a haunting.
You make a haunting too, kind of like my experience in Mammoth Mountain. Might be something like that.
Because, like, if you expect something bad to happen, then you might make something bad happen.
That's still paranormal. I think it's more likely, though, this is going to be something more statistical.
Yeah,
but probably. We'll see. Let's hear more about it.
Yeah, so like I said, other than all the deadbolts, they also noticed that there's, like, a bunch of, like, iron stakes with chains on them, which they kind of assume maybe it was guard dogs.
Dogs.
Had those. So they thought that was a little weird, too. Now, according to them and according to the website, on the first day they arrived there, they're, bringing their cattle onto the property, as you do, because like I said, they were cattle breeders. They put them in the pen, and they suddenly see a big-ass wolf off in the distance.
Yeah, this is a Bulletproof Wolf story.
The Bulletproof Wolf.
Yeah.
Is there a band called Bulletproof Wolf? There ought to be.
Should be.
That's an awesome name.
I know this story, and I've heard it told. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they see a big wolf in the distance. Now, they think this is a little strange because they're like, oh, well, supposedly there's no wolves in that area. Although I would imagine there's probably coyotes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think there's coyotes around there. But there's not supposed to be any wolves in this particular area. And this one looks much bigger than a normal one. Now, evidently, they said that another thing that was unusual about this was that this wolf did not seem afraid of them. And it also seemed tame and kind of friendly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't aggressive.
Probably somebody's husky.
That's what it probably was. I have to think about it. But, so evidently they, like, started walking closer to it. It let them pet it. It wasn't aggressive at all. So then they're like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah. So then they had some of their cattle in the pens, and one of the calves, like, sticks his little head out of the pen, like going, oh, what's that little wolf up to? Blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Now, suddenly the wolf lunges at the calf and puts its head in its mouth. Like it's going to eat the calf's head off.
Right.
So then, apparently, Terry Sherman, the rancher, is like, okay, well, I guess this wolf isn't so friendly after all, and I can't have this because these are, like, all my expensive prize cattle. So he allegedly starts shooting at this wolf.
Well, they hit it first with the sticks.
Yeah, they hit it first with sticks.
Yeah.
And then, now I've heard different accounts because the account on the website says he just picked up his rifle and shot at the wolf. Another source I saw said that he shot it first a whole bunch of times with a .357 Magnum, and then when it didn't have an effect, then he got the rifle and shot it.
And it was a 30-06.
Right, and supposedly like a chunk of the wolf came off.
Yeah, blew out. Yeah, coming out through the exit wound.
But the wolf like acted like nothing was happening. Like, what are you even doing, bro? It's like I don't feel pain.
Yeah, and then it walked off like nothing happened. They never saw it again.
Yeah, and they said they didn't see any blood. Yeah. It didn't appear like it was hurt. And some sources also said that they found the piece that they'd shot out of the wolf, but it looked like it was all rotten and old, like not from like it was from a fresh animal.
Yeah. Okay.
The bulletproof wolf, y'all.
Yeah. I'm not really buying it because I've been on a lot of hunts and I've actually shot a coyote before. It's a long story. My dad and his friends have hunting rights on a big piece of masonite land only 5 miles from where my dad lives. So, man, I grew up, this is out in Mississippi. I used to grow up every summer. I used to go down there and just shoot the shit out of that place with 30 carbines, later on AK-47s and 45s and stuff that, that I bought. And, we had... a little shooting range set up there, and and every deer season we'd hunt there. There's a bunch of rules that we had, you know. You couldn't shoot anything out of season, of course, you know. But one of the rules was that couldn't be any dogs or wild dogs there, because what they'll do is they'll chase all the deer away.
Yeah.
So we had what's called cutouts where there's shooting lanes and shooting houses, and the place was just a damn kill zone. You couldn't get in and out of that area without crossing somebody's gun sights, because we'd all kind of go there as a team. There was a competition going on with other hunters. And, you know, we weren't shooting does, you know. You don't shoot does unless it's doe day. No spikes. We didn't even shoot 4 points. We had to have 6-point deer or larger. And we're planting ryegrass, which is not the same as baiting, of course. You know, you make this lush habitat, and you allow the deer to live there for a long time so they grow big enough to have the racks that you want. All right, and of course you eat these deer. You know.
Yeah, you're not just shooting.
No,
them
you're not
for
shooting
the
them for fun. It's, you know, the points on the racks helps, but all that meat ends up in the freezer. You know, we eat that. Okay. Well, you can't have dogs there. There's no civilization around there. Any dog that would be there would be some kind of a coyote or some kind of feral dogs, and what they'll do is they'll attack or kill the young deer. You know, the what do you call them? Little fawns.
Yeah.
All right. And it'll drive the deer out of your lush habitat that you've built for them.
Right.
You know? So you're not hunting these things to extinction. You're actually kind of like growing large populations of these deer and culling them.
Yeah.
You're culling off the ones that have reproduced already.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that's kind of a big deal. I mean, you said that's why you wait until they're...
Yeah. That's
the males are like really big because they've already had children.
Yeah, and if they're 6-point deer, they only grow 2 points per year. So a spike is a year old. That's 2 spikes. All right, 4-point, he's 2 years old. 6-point, he's 3 years old. By the time of 3 years, they've probably already sired 3 or 4, you know. Actually, no, the first 2. Probably 2 children.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one day I was in the shooting stand and saw something running across the cutout. And I said, is that a dog? But the coloration was, and this is at 150 yards. And I had the worst rifle that my dad had at the time. That's what he gave me, because that's all we had. It was a Remington bolt action 222, not a 223, a 222, with a scope on it. So I put the scope on whatever it is that was running towards me, and it was some kind of a wild animal. I says, I think that's a coyote, but whatever it is, it doesn't belong here. It's chasing the deer off. So I had orders to shoot that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it is varmint, so you can shoot it, all right, all year round. So I fired off a round and I heard it hit, or saw it hit, and he went yipe, and jumped up about 5 feet in the air after the bullet impact. He hit the ground, and I thought he was dead. And I was looking at him through the scope, waited a few seconds, was getting ready to go down there and go get him. And he stood up and looked at me, and then started to run. It ran in a circle like that, and then ran away. Later on, my dad came. He goes, "What'd you kill?" Because he heard the shot.
Yeah.
And I said, "It was a coyote, but it got away." And he's like, "Nah," you know, because they had never seen a coyote in that area.
Yeah.
Like, nah. So we went down there to where it was, where I shot it, and there was just a ring of fur and a little bit of blood splats. And he goes, "You shot something, but that must have been a dog." And I said, "No, it wasn't a dog. I think it was a coyote." Well, years later, I'm in the Army. I talked to my dad and get a call from him one time, and, you know, this is like 6 years later. He goes, "William killed your coyote." And I was like, "What?" Because he didn't believe me. And he goes, "Yeah." He comes to the house, he goes, "Look in the back of the truck." And he says, "I looked back there, and there was a coyote with a gray eye that had been filmed over."
Yeah.
He says, "Where'd you hit it?" I said, "I put the scope basically right on its face."
Yeah.
And squeezed off around. And it went underneath the eye. It just grazed him, knocked him out.
Yeah.
And that was the only place it hit. It kind of graded over. It made like a cataract on it. And he did have a scar there, right there where I said. But later on, like 5 or 6 years later, he walked out chasing deer away. My dad's friend William shot it with a .308. It had gotten big, but it was a coyote.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing this story that he's telling us shooting this thing 3 or 4 times, you know, and then blowing, you know,
Blowing
stuff,
a piece of him
blows
off.
piece. That's all bullshit. He was missing. He was missing. Eventually, he probably hit it with a 30-06, but not real well. It knocked some flesh off of it, but it walked away. And they walked away because they're stunned, and it probably lived.
Because they're badasses.
Well, they're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough, and if you don't hit the vital organs, even with the biggest calibers, you know, as long as you don't hit vital organs, it just goes through them.
Yeah.
It's like piercing, you know. Damn, how many people we know in the fetish scene that pierce? We know a girl that can stick spikes through her skin of her back and suspend herself from the ceiling like something out of one of those, you know, what is that? Little Big Man?
Yeah.
Or a Man Called Horse, like these Indian tribes and stuff.
Yeah.
She does that, no problem, swings around.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Bullet just whizzed through. You know.
Yeah, if it goes through, I mean, really,
through.
the problem is if it hits something major or if
Right,
it
or bomb.
lodges in there.
Right.
That's when you gotta.
Well, in a rifle, it can't lodge in. It could go through 10 animals.
Yeah.
Too much penetration. But
yeah, so.
But no, I just heard the story, and it's just like, yeah, that's normal occurrences that happen during hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fire a lot of shots at close range, do something, you know, because the guy's panicked, he's missing. One round hits, and then the animal runs off.
Yeah.
You know, just because it wasn't a good hit.
So,
An animal can take you know, even a human being can take a rifle shot if it doesn't hit any vitals.
Yeah.
Not, you know.
That might be the case here.
That's all it
Because, like
was.
I said, I'm not buying bulletproof wolf.
No.
But I think they're trying to imply that this is a skinwalker.
No. They're trying to imply that, but
I know.
come on.
I know. I don't believe it either.
Yeah.
But evidently, this same very large wolf was also seen later on by, like a few days later, by Gwen, the wife. She said she was in her car and she saw the wolf and it was as tall. She said the back was parallel with the top of her window. So this is like a pretty big animal, evidently, that she saw. I don't know how far away it was when she saw it. So evidently, like over the next couple of years, you know, because like I said, they moved in 1994. So from 1994 to 1996, they supposedly see a bunch of other unusual animals, cryptids, whatever you want to call them, like around the area. Some of their neighbors apparently reported them too. Some of the weirdest ones, like some of them saw Bigfoots or Sasquatches or whatever. Some of them said they saw like strange, like multicolored birds that were not native to that area, which that's not that weird. I mean, they could have escaped from who knows where, like a pet store or a zoo or something like that. I mean, shit like that does happen. It's happened around here. We had like some monkeys escape from a zoo in Florida, and they had like they made a little, you know, a little community, and they just like howler monkeys, and they just sit up in the tree and make a lot of noise. But they just escaped from zoos and then reproduced.
Monkeys are no big deal.
Yeah,
that's the foreign version of a squirrel.
Yeah, they're just monkeys.
Yeah.
That's all right.
If you see squirrels we have around here, they act an awful lot like a monkey. They got the same job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The monkey job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the monkey niche. Run around the trees.
Yeah.
Tease our cat.
Yeah, and like make funny little bird noises.
Yeah.
That are like.
Yeah.
They also said they saw a strange creature that looked something like a hyena, except they said it was about 200 pounds, so it's kind of big. They said it was heavily muscled, low to the ground, had curly red hair and a bushy tail. So not a chupacabra. Not a chupacabra.
It goes back to that misidentification and seeing animals, you know what I mean, fleeting glimpses of animals and then not really sure what it was you saw. Like when I saw that coyote, you know, that they weren't common in those days in Mississippi. This is when I was a kid, you know. And they didn't believe me. But later on, years later, they became common there.
Yeah.
You know,
if you see an animal you're not expecting to see,
right,
or that you've never seen in the wild before, maybe, like, you're going to be, and especially if it's kind of far away, you're going to be like, what the fuck is that thing?
And they had migrated into Mississippi from those more desert-type regions.
Yeah.
Because of humans, you know, humans moved into those regions, and there was still a lot of stuff out in Mississippi they could live in. No bear, though, which is awful strange. We got a shit ton of bear around here. Got them in our backyard.
I know, Mitch. I told you, and I think I've said that on the show before. Shit, we came home from the club one night, and the big old bear is sitting right in the driveway.
Yeah, and
like he was waiting for us to come home.
Mississippi would be a perfect place for bear. but they're not there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's not enough garbage cans, because really that's the only thing these bears care about is those garbage cans.
Yeah, they love those garbage
They don't
cans.
work
They're
for
scavengers.
they don't work for a living.
Yeah, all they got to do is like figure out. They had to give us like where we live now.
We got special garbage cans.
They had
now.
to give us special garbage. You're not allowed to have normal garbage cans anymore. Like to put your thing out on the curb, you have to have this one with like the lock on it, because they said the bears were getting in there and like they were scaring people and whatnot. So yeah, you have to have the one with the lock on it.
So funny. Most of the people are scared of them. You know, and
they're not gonna hurt you.
They're not gonna hurt you. It's foreign people. They're really scared. They come from other countries. You know, like India. And they see a bear. They've only seen bears in the movies. And they just think
and these are not grizzly bears.
Yeah, they think a grizzly bear is going to come in the house, going to kill them.
I mean, grizzly bears will fuck you up.
These things are the cutest things ever, even when they're big. You know, they're still, to me, they're cute.
They are cute.
Yeah,
and they're very chill.
They're very chill. Yeah, they can kill you, but they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're a complex animal, and they have good intelligence, which means there's variation in them. Every now and then there's a bad bear. In the same way that every now and then there's a bad person.
Yeah.
You know, but they're not even defensive of young. That's a myth. Brown bear and grizzly are, but not black bear. You can grab a black bear cub right in front of the mama just ignores you. I got it on video.
Whatever.
As soon as they're used to people, they know people aren't a threat, or
Yeah, I mean, like they just hang out.
Yeah,
like
they're hanging
around
out.
Neighborhoods.
They're like they're even more friendly than a raccoon. A raccoon will tear you up, but you can make friends with a raccoon.
Yeah,
I got videos of that. People petting wild raccoons after feeding them.
Yeah.
When they realize that you'll feed them, all of a sudden they become your butt.
Then they'll come in your fucking little cat flap.
Yeah.
Come in there with their little hands out.
Yeah, I've seen videos of
can I have some more?
Wild raccoons sleeping up on a guy's windowsill, just fat from eating all that food. Just sleeping. He's sitting there just petting that wild raccoon.
He's like, yeah, this is the life.
Yep. And he's saying, yeah, he's my buddy. He's been coming here for months.
Aww.
So,
I think they're cute.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because sometimes we let the cats run around on the back porch and stuff, and every now and then like a big raccoon will walk by and they'll like look at him like, look at that weird cat.
Yeah.
And they try to like make little buddies with it and stuff, but the raccoons are like, nope. But yeah, so apparently, Terry Sherman says that this particular hyena-looking thing with the bushy tail disappeared before his eyes. So like I said, this is supposedly like some kind of supernatural shit going on here. So now we're getting into the realm of cattle disappearances and cattle mutilations. Because at this stage, right around spring of 1995, Terry says he starts to notice some of his cattle are disappearing. He asks around all the neighbors and then no one's seen them. They seem to have wandered off, or they seem to have been killed. They seem to turn up dead. And he said they usually seem to turn up dead like right after they see some type of weird UFO thing. So he says in spring of 1995 was the first time he saw like a UFO type thing on the property. He said he was out looking at his cattle and he saw a silent glowing object that kind of hovered over this really like a stand of poplar trees that was around the outside of one of the fields. Is that Kitty? What's that Kitty doing?
She's terracing up a tree.
Oh, okay. She's fucking around out there in the hallway. So they said it was super bright, like it lit up the whole side of the mountain. And that every time that they would see this, then like later on, like the next day or something like that, they would find one of the cows dead. Damn, Kitty.
I know.
But they said that one of the cows they found, like after this particular UFO sighting, they said they didn't find any injuries on it anywhere, except there was a hole in the center of its left eyeball. And evidently they took a piece of wire and stuck it into the eyeball and it went all the way into the brain. So you're getting some like some of the aliens are coming out and like pouring out the cow from the eyeball, I guess.
I'm very skeptical of the cattle mutilation phenomenon. I've just seen a lot of dead animals, and I know how. I saw a dead deer moving in the middle of the road. I'm going, what the hell's wrong with that deer? And pop, an armadillo came running out of its ass. All right.
Yeah, right out of its
butthole. I'm very familiar with this. With the process of what happens to animals once they die and after they've been sitting there for a little while. All this stuff about coring out the cow's ass. I've seen those photographs, and that's not what's happening. you know. And the eye thing, the eye that's exposed usually gets eaten by birds pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Things will run down a cow's ass and core it out. The armadillos and shit, all right?
Armadillos are gross.
Yeah.
They're adorable, but they're gross, and they will eat anything.
Yeah. Also, some of the stuff that they say, it looks like it's laser precision cut. Not really. What it is it might be a single hole, and then as decomposition happens, it kind of expands out to look very round.
Yeah.
You just, it's a case-by-case basis, and I also was shown pictures from the Skinwalker Ranch of, this animal, this wasn't done by this animal wasn't eaten by other animals. This was done by, some kind of laser precision. And I'm looking at it and going, no, that was eaten by animals. That's what it looks like, I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, you'd think they would know better. They're supposedly
Either that or they don't
ranchers.
want to know better.
Maybe they don't.
Yeah. I think it sells more to say. I think at first it started, I think when the phenomenon first appeared, it was ignorance. It was guys that have not seen too many dead things.
Yeah.
And don't know much about ecology and how there's a whole ecosystem. Nature has a huge cleanup crew of insects and birds and animals that come and just eat anything that dies.
They pour out your butthole.
They just do weird shit to you. You know what I mean? Insects do it too, and it all happens pretty quickly. Anything that dies, it's not there for very long.
Yeah.
Even something pretty big.
It's the circle.
It's not there
of
long.
life.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, in this area, if something's killed on the road, it's only there for a few hours. Buzzards get it almost immediately.
Then the vultures go and they're just like woohoo, and then they drag it over into the grass.
They drag it off to the side. We
call
see
all
it
their
every day.
buddies.
They pull it to the side of the road, and they're over there fighting and pulling something apart.
Yeah, and all their buddies come, and they
Yeah.
just have a whole big old snack. Little
If
piece
they don't
of-
have buzzards in the area, it's other creatures that are going to be doing it. And it happens pretty fast.
Yeah.
I threw a dead turkey out one time that died. Remember, when I was working in Dr. Matt's barn.
Yeah.
And went there one morning and found that the turkey had died. And I threw the turkey out the back. I said, I'll get him later and bury him. And after I got done with what I had to do in the barn, went back out there to go bury him, and he was gone. They'd already taken him.
Woo!
Yeah,
free
they'd already
turkey!
taken him. I don't know what got him. And that was only about 2 hours.
Some little animal walked by and
Something
said,
got
"Ooh,
him.
it's my lucky day."
Because as soon
I
as
get a
something
whole
dies,
turkey.
it gives off all these chemicals. The humans can't smell it. But animals that are scavengers can. They know the smell of something that's dead. They come and get it. It's just like ringing the dinner bell. They come and get it. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That was some
Yeah,
animals.
and we're
lucky
not
day,
in a
luckiest
country
day.
area, really.
Yeah.
We're on the outsides of a suburban area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I wouldn't even call it rural.
It was
wanna-
rural at one time.
They want to make it seem like it's rural, and it is. There's like a lot
Yeah.
of woods and stuff around, and there's a lot of animals. We see deer, we see bears all the time, we see
Yeah.
raccoons all the time. But, I mean, the city is like right there.
Dr.
And
Matt.
the highway is like right there.
Dr. Matt, he only lives right up the street here.
Yeah.
And he's got a piece of land with a mansion on it and a barn and some arenas and round pens for the horses, and he's got a bunch of horses there. And it's got driveways that go through it. It looks like a little miniature version of Walt Disney World. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And at one time, that was a country home. But that was 20 years ago. The area has
Yeah.
built up quite a bit. Now we're in a suburban area.
Shit's built up since we've
Yeah.
lived in this house for what, 7 years? I
7
think?
years, and there's a lot of stuff that's been built in this area.
7.5 years,
Just-
something like that.
It's not it's almost unrecognizable in certain areas around this house.
Yeah, they've just built.
because
they
there's new
built,
housing complexes. And
Yeah,
stuff.
they built a shit ton of houses like just behind
Right.
ours. Just
and
in
you
the
will
past year
still
or so.
see bear. You'll still see.
I see them running through people's front yards.
Yep. Yeah, we just saw
Around
one
here.
in a couple days, and it was the size of a large dog. And I pulled up and said, "How you doing, bear?" Remember, it was in there in that.
It was
garage.
going up into somebody's garage in our neighborhood. Because I said maybe we should tell the people that there's a bear in
Yeah.
their garage so they don't
Bear
go in
tried
there.
to get
and
was looking
surprise
right
them.
at the refrigerator because they had a refrigerator in the garage.
They're like, ooh, because
Most of us have two refrigerators.
they can open those.
They'll open the refrigerator right up.
There's like, I wonder if they got any beer.
They're as smart as a monkey.
Yeah, I've seen them open refrigerators.
Yeah, they can open a car door.
That too.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're not dumb. Okay, so like I said, cows disappearing, cattle mutilations, blah blah blah. Terry said that at one time he was like he lost one cow, but he saw its tracks, so he followed its tracks, and the tracks suddenly disappeared, like in the snow, like the cow had been sucked up into a fucking I guess, into another dimension or into an alien spacecraft or whatever. So now they're saying now they're starting to see all these like UFOs and shit like that. Then he starts saying that they see what are essentially portals in the sky.
Maybe we should leave that for the second half.
Yeah, maybe it's probably about time to take a break.
Right.
So
we'll talk about portals.
Let's talk about portals when we get back. Because this is, I mean, if the shit was unbelievable before, this is where it starts going wildly off the rails.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll.
Yeah, and don't get mad. I mean, I believe that there are paranormal things that happen. It's just that not everything that's reported is paranormal. Not everything is legitimate.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they didn't see stuff.
Right. And UFOs are not paranormal. If there are extraterrestrials, that's part of the natural world.
Well, yeah, they would just be from another planet.
Right. Yeah.
So there's nothing weird about that. They just came from outer space. Right. Big deal. That's
I think that at least I think that. Well, I'm going to try to be political about it. I think that not all of these UFO sightings can be easily dismissed. Let's just say that.
Well, that's a good thing to say.
Right.
I mean, you're not necessarily coming out and saying, "Yeah, I think they're extraterrestrial."
I got a suspicion based on a lot of. I got a suspicion that that extraterrestrial craft do come here every now and then.
Yeah.
I don't think it's real common though, and I don't think they're real interested in it.
Because, like I said, why would they?
Yeah, and here's another thing. The government probably knows it's happening. They don't think they know anything more than what we know. Not much. Well, they're not talking to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any kind of like big cover up or anything like that. Like even if they are like cruising by every now and then,
they might be covering up the fact that they know that they come here. But that's
right.
I don't think they know anything about them.
Right.
That's
right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because why the fuck would they talk? I don't know. Like I said, why would they care?
They would never admit things were violating our airspace that they couldn't control. They would never come out and say, yeah, extraterrestrials come here, and there's nothing we can do about it. We don't know what they want. We don't know who they are.
So,
they would never say that. They would never say that.
They could have a big death ray and just blow the whole planet
they would never
up,
say
and
that.
we couldn't do anything.
They would say, nah, we don't care about that, or that's not happening. That's what they would say.
Probably they would.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, like I said, we're going to talk about portals. We're going to talk about more crazy shit that they saw and all of the different manifestations, the different paranormal shit that has supposedly been seen over the years on Skinwalker Ranch. So we will be back in just a few minutes. The Faceless Villain, a collection of the eeriest unsolved murders of the 20th century, Volume 2, includes cases spanning the years from 1960 through 1979, featuring such infamous crimes as the triple homicide at Lake Bodom, the family massacre known as the Good Heart Murders, the serial killings of the Zodiac, Bible John, Jack the Stripper, and the Freeway Phantom, the slaughter of dozens of women and girls along the Highway of Tears and the Texas killing fields, and the mysterious death of suspected spy, the Isdal woman, along with dozens of other fascinating and horrifying accounts. Buy it now from Amazon in print, Kindle, or audiobook format.
So baby Cookie is fascinated that we have a squirrel in the bathroom. And she keeps coming in here and and she's talking to me, trying to get me to open the door so she can go in there and play with her. No, you leave that baby alone. That squirrel is hurt. I know, but you can't, okay? You're not allowed. I've never heard you talk so much. Why are you so excited? Yeah? Okay. You're not going in there, though. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Jenny's got some new shirt designs up. 4 of them. Really good ones, too. Atlanta Ripper, Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm, the H.H. Holmes Murder Castle, and, of course, Demon Child, because man said he could. These are updated designs. I think they look really cool. Jenny did a great job on them. Were they fun making, Jenny?
They were very fun, and thank you very much. I think they came out very good.
Yeah, they get really good. They're very high quality shirts. Jenny and I wear our own shirts at certain times when we're trying to put a spotlight on ourselves, and you can put a spotlight on yourselves. If you go ahead and pick up one of these shirts today, you guys are going to love them. Links in the description, www.zazzle.com at 13 o'clock.
Yeah, so go check out our store at www.zazzle.com/13 o'clock. We got these 4 cool new t-shirt designs, plus all our old ones if you'd rather get one of the old ones. But these ones are awesome, and you should check them out.
They're also available in women's cut, and they look really cute. Jenny's got some.
So thank you. Go check them out.
All right, we're back. butter and portalized dogs, or is it portals and butterized dogs?
Yeah, the second thing.
Okay.
The second thing. I have to tell you that I love, like I said, I went to the actual Skinwalker Ranch official, I guess it's the official ass website, for this place. And I was kind of reading the timeline and like all the stories about it and stuff like that. And I have to say, I really love that this portion of the story had the subhead, blue balls and butterized dogs.
Okay.
And I'm like, are you guys trolling me?
Yeah.
Because that's pretty funny.
That's what's on there.
We
though.
need a shirt that says that, blue balls and butterized dogs.
Yeah, show's kind of running late. We're already in our second hour, but I guess you guys don't mind.
Yeah,
So
all our shows are getting longer and
they're
longer
getting
because
longer
we're
and
getting
longer.
more and more drunk and
Yeah,
long-winded.
and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of different little reports in this.
Yeah,
in this
and like
case.
like I said, I was mostly focusing on this section because this is where the craziest shit is. You know, and I got a couple reports from some people that were there, supposedly there later, and like I said, I want to go into a little bit like all the different shit that's supposedly been seen there. But so at this stage, the Shermans are still there. They said they're still seeing little crafts, little cattle mutilation situations going on. And then they start seeing this other crazy shit. Now listen to this. Now this is a quote from Terry Sherman. He says, "We would see these 100-foot circular openings appear in the air. It was like 4 orange-colored doorways would sort of spiral open. Portal to another dimension, y'all." That's what he's talking about. So evidently they would see these appear in the sky. They would get their their binoculars, their high-powered scopes or whatever, and look at them. And they said now out of these portals would come like smaller crafts that were like 60 by 40 feet. They were kind of square shaped. Then they had like little short wings, and they would come out and like fly around like in a grid type formation. And then they had like these little spikes of light which would come out and would like hit the ground, which they got the impression was something like navigational system, or they were doing.
What year was this again?
This was mid-90s. They were still there in the mid-90s. They only lived there for like 2 years.
Right. Okay.
Right? So, yeah, they're seeing all that kind of shit. They also...
I'm not going to comment on it.
You're not going to
I'm not
comment?
gonna comment on it. Well, I'm just wondering, okay, let's say there are some kind
Portals
of extra
in the sky.
Yeah, okay. There are extra dimensional beings that want to monitor the Earth's progress. Why are these portals opening up over such an insignificant place? You know what I mean? Basically out in the middle of
maybe it's not insignificant to them.
the desert is always insignificant, basically. Think about it. Wouldn't it just no.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know.
No.
I'm not buying any of this.
Not
I'm just
buying
telling you right now. Like, you know what I'm like. I'm
yeah.
just like, whatever. I don't believe you. But
The only thing
yeah.
that okay, on the outside, what possibly could be going on is maybe there's some kind of extra dimensional aliens or something that want to see secret technology that's happening on one of those Air Force bases in the area.
Yeah.
Maybe, but come on, let's think about this. If these extraterrestrials could actually pass through dimensional doors, there's
Why
nothing
would they
we could
need
be
to
working
look at
on.
our
Yeah,
shit?
there's nothing we could be working on that they wouldn't know
That's
about, wouldn't care
the thing
about.
that always makes me skeptical about all
Right.
these, because why would they care? They can do all that. Why
Right.
would they care?
A good analogy would be like humans in the 60s putting together the Apollo moon rocket, you know what I mean? To go see what some tribesmen on the other side of the world are doing with those obsidian arrowheads. Let's see what kind of
That's a good analogy.
let's see what kind of obsidian arrowheads they're making in that tribe over there.
we have to stop them from doing
it wouldn't be going on. No.
Then we're gonna abduct
Now-
some of them and stick stuff up their butts.
All right, let me look at it from this angle. Okay, maybe they saw something. All right, maybe something did happen there. They misidentified it, whatever it was. Maybe it was something else, some kind of weird atmospheric thing. Maybe it was I don't know, peyote. I don't know. It's just I think it's a fabrication. Think about it. It's
Well,
too
like I
grandiose.
said, if you're going to, just a pro tip, if you're going to come up with like a paranormal story to, whatever you want to do, just to get attention or whatever, keep it kind of low key.
Well,
Because the crazier it gets, I feel like the less people or not. I mean, like,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, shit. Mountain Poltergeist was pretty fucking crazy.
But it wasn't crazy.
That happened, though.
I know, but that wasn't
Yeah.
crazy to the extent. I mean, mostly what that was, I mean, that was like stuff moving around, but it was like
Yeah.
mundane stuff moving around.
Yeah.
Like chairs and towels and shit
Yeah,
like that.
there wasn't any rhyme or reason to it.
Right,
other than-
and you didn't see
No.
like any fucking...
No dimension door opened up. I
Right,
didn't see the
nothing
ghost
like
talking
that.
to me that tried to, giving me the Akashic records or, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No.
Just like, keep it a little low-key.
No, it didn't want to communicate whatever it was. Well,
Yeah.
I think I know what it is, but you got to read the book now.
Well, and we did a show about it too.
We did
so
a show
you know,
about it, yeah.
But yeah, so right around this time that they started seeing these supposed portals like appearing in the sky with all these little smaller ships like supposedly coming out of them. Also, him and the son, Terry and the son, also reported hearing voices coming out of thin air, like when they were out in the fields. These later became known by later researchers as the collectors, or what are they called? I don't remember what they're called now, but I'll get to it later. Or the controllers, rather, not the collectors. I was
Okay.
thinking of that
The
horror
controllers.
movie. The controllers. Now, these are apparently two male voices that are talking to each other. It sounds like it's coming over a CB radio, but it is, in fact, coming out of thin air, is out in the field. They're not speaking English. They're speaking in some language that Terry did not recognize. He said it sounded very choppy and halting. He said it sounded kind of like maybe Russian or like a Native American type dialect. He couldn't really put his finger on what it was. But he said these two guys were talking to each other. He got the impression that they were talking about him. And he said the first time that he and his son heard it, that he actually like listened to them talking for, and at first they thought it was like an echo of a CB radio or something, but then when they realized it was coming out of thin air, he said something like, "Hey, we can hear you," and then the voices stopped, and then he heard like a laugh, and then the voices kept on going. You know what I mean? Okay, so there was that whole thing. Now, the next big thing that happened, apparently, now this was something that Gwen, the wife, saw. Now, she says that she saw lights out in the field one evening, so she goes and gets her binoculars, and she goes and looks over where the lights are coming from. Now, she sees what she called a square lighted structure, and it's sitting on the ground as though it has landed. Now, she says before the light goes out, she says she saw, you're going to laugh, she saw a large, heavy-set individual, that's a quote, and he was seated in the object. Okay. Right? Like
How
in
did she
this
see
box,
him?
like
Through
through
a
the
window?
binoculars.
Okay.
Through the binoculars.
All right.
So then she saw that, and then like later on she sees it again, and then her and the husband, Terry, also saw it. They looked at it through like a high-powered scope or whatever. Now they see the same object, and then they see a figure standing next to it, which is apparently over 7 feet tall, wearing a black uniform. And they said he either had a helmet on or his face was like metallic or something, because it was like this weird like shiny shit like happening around his facial type area. So yeah, so they're seeing a person sitting in a lighted box or a lighted
Well, what
craft
happened to it?
that's like sitting in their field.
Well, what happened?
Not super sure. I guess it just kind of vanished or took off or whatever. But they reported that also. Now, another thing that they reported on more than one occasion was the blue balls.
Yeah.
Not the kind of blue balls that you're probably thinking about.
Yeah.
These were literal blue balls. I guess the other ones are kind of literal blue balls too. So they see these glowing blue balls like kind of floating around the property. They give off a crackling sound. They seem as though someone is controlling them, like perhaps by remote control. They seem like to be moving intelligently.
Now, what year is this?
This is mid-90s still. Like I said, they only lived there from like 94 to 96. Or 97.
So all
or
this
something
happened
like that.
within a 2-year period.
Yes. It was a busy 2 years, as you can see.
Okay.
So they see these kind of balls. They describe them as, they were kind of like blue balls about the size of a baseball. He said there were two like blue colored fluids inside of it. It looked like they were kind of like intermingling with each other. He said what they would do was they would kind of hover above the ground, and they would kind of hover like over to the animals, like it would hover in front of the cow and like look at its face, like it was checking it out.
So he's saying they're probes.
Yeah, or it would go over to the horses and check it out or whatever. Now, evidently, of all the things they saw, these blue balls like scared Terry the most, he said. He said because they were obviously, he said they looked like they were checking shit out. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back came from these little blue balls. So apparently there's some of them hovering in the field one night. They kind of hover like near a cow, and then it kind of goes off a little bit, and then 3 of the Sherman's dogs took off running, like after the blue ball, right? Like it kind of went off in the field or whatever, and the blue balls went off and chased it. So, and it's funny because these are their dogs. The dogs run off after the blue ball, and apparently the Shermans are just like, well, the dogs, I'm sure they'll be fine, or I'm too scared to go check. We'll go check in the morning when it's light out. So the next morning, they go out where the blue ball was. They see 3 like scorched areas of earth, and in the middle of each of these scorched areas of earth is like a smear of like something that they described as looking like butter or shortening, which they assume are the remains of their dear departed dogs, which they obviously never found ever again. I'm not sure why they immediately jumped to that conclusion. I don't know if the shortening looked like a dog shape, or I'm not really sure what that's all about. But like I said, this is why the subhead of this particular story was called Butter Eyes. I'm like, Butter Eyes dogs? Come on, aliens, leave the dogs alone. Don't turn the dogs into shortening. That's not cool.
I'm just not really buying this aspect of the case. Just
like,
not.
This sounds like some crazy shit, right?
Yeah, Okay, what else is next?
Yeah, so they said that...
I just think this is all very implausible. I don't think extraterrestrials will be interested in people's dogs or turning people's dogs
Why would they turn people's dogs into, like, Crisco? That's not cool.
These are tall tales. Now, I'm not saying that there's no UFOs in that area. Maybe somebody saw some UFOs earlier, which we know that they did.
Yeah.
You have new people coming into the scene already with, there's UFOs. They show up here. Yeah, everybody's seeing them. Oh, we saw some. Matter of fact, we saw some 2 blue balls. No. Now, what else is there?
Butter Eyes dogs.
Yeah.
So apparently the Butter Eyes dogs were the final straw.
It's very 80s, that story.
It is, yeah.
Very 70s and 80s.
So the Shermans were finally at long last, were like, yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So they go to, now evidently at this stage, Terry talks to some of the Ute Indian tribe people that are in the area. And they said, oh yeah, we know how fucked up that land is, and like all kind of weird shit happens. We have like an ongoing bet, like whoever moves onto that land, we always have a bet like how long they're gonna stay.
See, this is the part that bothers me about Skinwalker Ranch. You have stories of basically Native American werewolves that go back to the 1900s. And then you have stories about UFOs, as if UFOs are somehow linked to this cursed land.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with this. You know what I mean?
It's almost kind of like a lot. Remember how, some paranormal things that I've seen, like documentaries and stuff, try to link UFO sightings with like Sasquatch.
With Sasquatch.
And it's like, I'm not really sure what, like, Sasquatch is from outer space.
I have a theory, okay? People say that they see a Sasquatch, all right? Then they go and check and there's no footprints. So therefore, Sasquatch is not a physical creature. It's a supernatural, spiritual creature, all right? And then UFOs are involved too, you know what I mean, somehow. I don't really get that because the origin of these stories came from very different mindsets and very different cultures, okay? You had stories of Sasquatch type things going all the way back to the times of President Teddy Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt claimed to have had contact with, I guess, a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
They were around the campfire and they heard something out there.
And he looked and saw the...
Yeah, and they threw a rock and then the rock came back and horrible cry of a beast man type thing. And I think he said they kind of saw its outline. And I think, from what I remember, I read that in a book about it a long time ago. So there were stories of wild beast man Sasquatch things going down in the United States for a long, long time. That is Native American, okay? And then later you had guys who were hoaxing it with big footprints. They're known hoaxers. They found the feet that they did, okay?
And the gorilla suits.
Those guys that were faking that and doing the Sasquatch gig, okay? They weren't even, they didn't give a shit about ghosts or UFOs. that was a different gig, you know. But now you got guys in the industry, they want to merge all that in together.
Well, it's almost kind of like scientists that want to find a theory of everything. It's almost like if you're into the paranormal, it's like you want some big grand, overarching thing that encompasses every single weird thing ever. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like people want to. They like that synergy. They like
Sasquatch stories were about biology. You know, this is a living creature.
Yeah.
You know, in nature. That was the intent of that story. And, you know, it may be true. I think it's unlikely at this point. But it may have been true in the past. That might be some kind of ancestral memory encoded into us through something like Gigantopithecus, or maybe...
Yeah, when there were other hominids.
When there were other hominids around that we had to compete directly with. There may have been this instilled, inbred fear in us that there were other men in the woods that were bigger and stronger and had more hair on them, because at one time that was true.
It was.
So
that is demonstrably true.
Yeah, and animals are born with instincts. I don't see why humans aren't born with instincts. When I was a little boy, I could remember things that I couldn't. This might be a story from another for another show. But when I was a little kid, I said things to my dad that used to blow his mind. That I told him, I said, when I was little, we were on that tractor, and the tractor fell over. Don't you remember that? And my dad was looking at me. And I was like 3 or 4, and he's shaking his head. And he told my mom, he goes, I've never been on a tractor with him. He's talking about the time me and my dad were on a tractor, and the tractor fell over. So
reincarnation.
No. What if I inherited some kind of a memory of that from my dad? In other words, I didn't get it from my granddad. I may have inherited that memory from my dad. And maybe those memories are thrown away as you get older. So you might be born with some memories inherited from your ancestors in the way, like an instinct. I have a feeling, because, you know,
it's just like encoded, like computer.
Right, and I don't think the memories are real solidly ingrained in your mind. They're quickly replaced with new memories, with real memories. An impression. It's like an impression, a temporary thing to get you through.
Because a lot of people have stories about that, like of their little kids saying freaky shit
that they
about shit that happened to them or happened to their grandparents or something like that. I think we
inherit some memory, but as you get older, it's replaced.
Yeah, because maybe it's just maybe it's some kind of glitch. Maybe it's like not even. Maybe it's just in there.
And so if that happens, what's to say we don't inherit, you know, pretty deeply instilled fears about things that just aren't a threat anymore, like big hairy guys.
Yeah.
That, you know, out in the woods that are twice your size.
Yeah.
You know.
Because like you said, that did exist at some point, because there were different hominids.
Yeah, our ancestors were fighting with other ancestors at the same time. They're gone now. But
so yeah. And like I said, I've always said that of all the quote unquote paranormal topics, and I'm not saying that I think they're likely, but the most likely are UFOs, because like you said, it would just be another species from another planet, which that's not that crazy. Or Sasquatches, because it would just be an animal.
If there's a Sasquatch, it's gonna in the United States. It's gonna be up in Washington State.
Yeah, it would just be an unidentified animal.
It's gonna be up in Canada. It's not gonna be down this far south.
So I don't even really consider that.
And then another thing is that, you know, you're always talking about Sasquatch and there's a possibility that orang pendek might exist.
Yeah.
There have been some educated people that have seen it and go, yeah, it's orang pendek. And they said it's a small hominid. It's like a bipedal.
Yeah.
Ape, you know.
But that's like the Hobbit people that they found fossils of those, and that wasn't that long ago.
You know, though the Hobbit people, the Hobbit thing is a hominid. It's from our genus. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think orang pendek is. I think it's a bipedal chimpanzee.
Yeah.
You know.
Which, like I said, that's not that
crazy. Far off. Yeah,
that's
I don't think it's directly. It's a cousin, not so much, you know, an ancestor.
But yeah, so okay, like I said,
you know, for people who you know are new to the show, we're not bagging on all this shit. You know what I mean? I do believe that there's a lot of this stuff. At least there's a possibility for it, and some of it I think is real. One of it, I know poltergeist is.
Well, yeah,
out of body experience, I know it's real. I've had it. I've had a near death experience. And and I'll tell you what, out of OBE and NDE is very similar to the situation you have in a life or death situation. Like when you hear people saying they're having a car accident, seemed like it was happening in slow motion. I've had that too. You know, coming off that motorcycle at 70, feels like it's happening in slow motion. It's an altered state of consciousness. Well, NDE and OBE are like that too. They have that same kind of weird quality.
Yeah.
You know. You've ever had that happen to you?
Yeah, a couple times.
Where you see it happening in slow motion. It's kind of like a weird altered state.
Yeah.
OBE is kind of like that. And so is NDE. But it's very different in terms of like what it actually goes down in the situation.
Yeah.
But
I'm like fascinated by all that kind of like altered consciousness and like how brains like process like certain information.
Well, they got some of the greatest scientists in the world trying to figure out what consciousness is. And the rules may be very different.
No one knows, really.
Right. So,
which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
And, you know, based on my experience with the poltergeist and Indian, consciousness does alter reality. Physical things can be altered through consciousness, but that's for the story for another show.
Yeah.
And some quantum physics kind of seems to support that idea, too.
Yeah.
But I think poltergeist would be an extreme version of it.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem to happen.
It doesn't happen that often.
So, okay, at this point, like I said, their dogs turning to Crisco was apparently the last straw, so they said, okay, we're going to get the fuck out of this ranch. They'd been there about 2 years. So they're going to move out. They pack up all their cattle and stuff like that. Now, according to them, on the last night before they left the ranch, you know, they fell asleep as they usually did after they'd packed up. They were really tired and everything like that. They woke up the next day and there was like blood all over their bed, and they saw that both Terry and Gwen said they had like a little plug of flesh like taken out of their thumbs, as though someone had come in and done that, and there was like blood all over the bed. I'm just telling you, man, don't make that face at me. It's not me.
Making a face. So, aliens don't need fucking samples from human beings. They'd only need a sample from one human being, and they would know that because we're all about the same. So they only need a sample from one.
So at this stage, they're like, okay, well, we want to get the fuck out of here. So at this stage comes in Robert Bigelow, who is a millionaire from Las Vegas, and he's very into like paranormal stuff and UFO research and stuff like that. And he's heard about like all these weird things happening at this particular ranch, so he wants to purchase it. Now, most of the sources I said he purchased it for less than the Shermans had paid for it. I believe he paid about $200,000 for 480 acres, which that's quite a good deal.
Nothing on it.
Yeah, there's nothing on it. There was a house on it and shit like that, but that's about it.
Have you seen that house? I've seen photographs of it.
Well, I'm not sure if that was the original Myers house, because here's because the Myers apparently built a house on it in either 1905 or in the 1930s. But then later on,
something else was built there. Yeah.
But then later on, they built another house on the property too. So I'm not sure if that's the original.
I saw two
house.
of them. I saw two.
Yeah.
I saw photographs of two houses that are associated. One of them was a dump. It looked like it was just falling.
Yeah,
down.
I know which one you're talking
Then there was a newer one that looked like it was built sometime in the 60s, maybe the 70s. Okay, which wasn't quite as bad.
Right.
But it wasn't a nice house. You know, it was just a house. You know, like a country house. You know. Oh, you know, it wasn't too stylish.
Yeah.
You know.
So evidently, Bigelow buys this property, and he makes the Sherman sign a non-disclosure agreement, because evidently he's going to open up like kind of a paranormal research type or a UFO research thing like on there.
I'm already
which is called the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, which is what they call it.
Non-disclosure. Okay, let me be honest with the listeners now. The non-disclosure might be Bigelow telling them, look, you guys got to shut the fuck up, because if you guys go out there and start running your mouth, you're going to blow the gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be that,
because if you guys are not credible, or if you go out there and say something that's not credible, it might spoil, you know, what I got going on.
My shit I got going on.
Yeah, I got to keep this story over here straight.
Yeah.
Which means to me that there's a chance, okay, I'm just going to say, Bigelow didn't find those people credible. That's what that was all about.
Well, like I said, a lot
he
of
didn't find them to be credible.
You know,
but that doesn't mean that weird shit wasn't happening there, because other people had seen some stuff.
Yeah.
And there were some UFO sightings that date way back. So it might be that Bigelow wasn't too interested in what this family had to say.
Right.
Bigelow might have been interested in the place for something else. Maybe develop his drones. Maybe he thought UFOs were going there. Maybe he believes, you know what I mean? So I have a feeling that Bigelow probably didn't really care too much about what this family said.
Maybe not, because like I said, it seems like most of the reports prior to the Shermans moving in were mostly just UFO type reports.
I would think that Bigelow's probably there for
stuff, but mostly UFOs.
I bet you Bigelow's there for the UFO stuff, or for just to have a big piece of property that no one can really get a good look at so he could develop stuff for his
Yeah,
company.
because once he, started this institute and moved in, it's like he kind of walled off the street. He put like keep out signs, puts out like observation towers. He brings in scientists, veterinarians, blah blah blah. He apparently sent out a bunch of letters to like ranchers in the area, like asking them about cattle mutilations and about any of their missing animals, like if they were interested in that kind of stuff.
So he's there for the UFOs. He's not there for the. He's not there for the werewolves.
Right.
Yeah.
And there were some rumors that maybe there was some CIA involvement. That they had like this retired army colonel that had worked at Los Alamos, like come in there and shit. But that, like I said,
that's
it's
plausible.
all just
I think.
speculative, sure.
Look, I'm not an expert on this guy, but if I remember correctly, Bigelow made drones for the government.
Yeah.
I think. Did you find that in your...
I'm not entirely sure, so I'm not going to say one way or the other.
I was under the impression that he was a contractor and that he was developing drones for the military.
Okay.
Which that would make sense of why he would want that property.
Yeah.
That'd make a good test facility. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't believe in UFOs. I think he's one of those guys that does. Well,
clearly, because he seems to be super interested in whatever.
Just because you're making drones doesn't mean you don't believe in UFOs.
Yeah.
And they got what's his name? Guy Lear believes in that too. The guy who made Learjet, his son, he totally believes in UFOs. Now, I forgot his first name, but I don't believe Mr. Lear knows too much about what he's talking about, though. Maybe he does, but I've seen interviews with him, and he doesn't strike me as to be. I don't know, man. I don't want to bag on that guy. He's kind of nerdy when it comes to the UFOs,
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, who am I? I mean, maybe this dude.
Maybe he knows something.
Maybe he knows something I don't know. You
never know.
Right.
So, also around this time, like I said, after Bigelow bought the ranch, other people who lived in the area started reporting like a lot of helicopter activity around the area. You got your, famous black helicopters.
Yeah.
You got some red helicopters that had like black cylinders like underneath them, like carrying various things in, military helicopters, that type of thing. So no one knows what that's all about, but apparently some of the locals reported that. Now, one interesting thing that I found on the website, this guy, evidently, and I guess they copy and pasted this from his blog. This guy said that he worked on the Skinwalker Ranch from 2003 to 2005, like off and on. He said, now I wasn't part of the NIDS team, but he's like, they brought in like outside contractors to do various work around the ranch and stuff like that. He's like, so I kind of thought that I was being hired on to like, do like watch for UFOs and shit like that. So I was really excited about it. He's like, but when, at this point, like most of the activity, that the Shermans had reported, I guess is what he's talking about, had died down. So he's
it died down after they left.
So I was like,
they were the source of that
that's
shit.
instructive. That happened. Yeah. So this guy said, so most of the time he's like, so I'm just sitting around like he's like pretty much a glorified ranch hand, quote unquote. Yeah. That's what he said. He's like, I would feed the dogs. I would just go around and check all the fences, and he's like all that kind of stuff. He's like, mostly we just kind of sat around playing cards and shooting the shit and stuff like that. He's like, but I did see a couple of weird things like while he was working there. He did see something that looked like, I believe it kind of looked like a big black like orb or something like out in the sky that was kind of like flying like over the...
Must be daytime.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Because he said it was night because he said it was like a darker orb like against the night sky.
Okay, that's something. Okay.
Like he saw it he said I only saw it for about 45 seconds, but it kind of like made everything worth it. He also reported a little bit of poltergeist activity. He's like, I had a set of keys for the dog pens. He's like, because that was one of my duties as I would go out in the morning and the evening and I would feed all the dogs. He's like, so I come in the morning, and I put the keys on the table where I always put them. Then he's like, then I do my regular shit during the day. He's like, later on, I come back to get the keys. No one else has been in the, in the trailer or wherever it was. He's like, the keys are gone. We look everywhere. I get all my teammates. We look all over the place. We can't find the keys anyplace. He's like, then later on they come back and the keys are like back on the table again. So that's like pretty classic, like poltergeist activity there.
Could have been somebody in the team pulling a trick on
it. Could have been, although he said that, everybody...
I'd probably give a little more credence because you know what? For classic poltergeist stuff to happen, you have to have a young kid there. You gotta have somebody go through.
I'm not
puberty.
sure how old this guy is. I just
And-
like kind of read his thing. I got the impression that he was a young guy, but I wasn't really sure.
I'd be more apt to believe his story about seeing something dark up in the sky, in the nighttime sky. That sounds like maybe somebody working on a drone right there.
Yeah.
Some kind of surveillance drone.
But he said that he said actually in 2004 that he saw he said he was sitting in the trailer with like the NIDS people, and he said he heard the dogs start going nuts outside, so they all run out there, and he said that there was like a ball of light like going by. He said it buzzed by the dog pen and then went through the field, like, and then a couple hundred yards. He said after a couple hundred yards, the ball curved in and flew off in a different direction and then just winked out. So he did
Flew off
see
in another direction into the sky. Is that what they're talking about?
yeah, I guess so. He said
that
it
could be
just
a
disappeared
motorcycle
just
going
like
by
that.
at night. You know.
Yeah. So that was he saw like a couple little UFO things there.
Yeah.
But he does say that by the time that I started working there, like all the crazy shit, like I said, that the Shermans are reporting had pretty much died down, although there was some UFO
So far,
activity.
basically, what he said to me isn't that crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's not that crazy.
So that's why I kind of like this guy, you know, yeah, he could be making it up, but if he was making it up, you'd think he would make up something more exciting than what he saw. He said, because most of the time he was just sitting around doing nothing. He's like,
Plausible explanations. He's seeing drones. He may be
Yeah.
seeing motorcycles, dirt bikes going by the pin at night. Could be, many different things.
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial craft.
Yeah.
You know? But, whatever. Okay, it's part of the case.
And he said another thing too was that he's like, we did try to take pictures of the stuff. He's like, I wasn't on the NIDS team, so I don't know what eventually happened to the photos. He's like, I did see some of them like after they were taken, but the photos were always really shitty.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, they didn't look like anything. It just looked like blurry lights like on the fucking photo.
Right.
So he's like, so I don't know if like shit was being suppressed or if they kept the photos or if they were like, researching them or whatever. He's like, I wasn't privy to any of that, and anything like that. So he's like, there was one night in mid-September of 2005. He said, him and a couple other guys were just sitting around in the trailer playing cards. He said then suddenly he felt the air. He said it went like an electrical kind of feel. He's like, that's kind of the best way I can describe it. The dogs outside going nuts again. He said they sounded really scared. They were like whining and yelping and stuff. So he gets up, he goes out the window, he doesn't see anything. And then he looks over at the guy who's playing cards with, who looked kind of like spaced out or confused or whatever. Then he said he started hearing like a buzzing sound, a buzz and then another one. And then he said that the guy he'd been playing cards with suddenly said, we need to go outside. So they both go outside and then they look up at the sky. He said at first he didn't see anything, but then he's like scanning through the sky. And then after a couple seconds, he said, I saw a spot in the sky that was somehow darker than the sky. I couldn't make out the exact shape, but I could tell something was there.
So that's the same thing you told me about earlier.
Yeah. But
Okay.
he saw it more than once.
Okay.
Now he said he looks over at the guy and he says he was looking up into the sky like as if he could see something up there. And he said, I can hear it, but he said, I didn't hear anything though. And then he said, but the guy, like the look on his face was like really freaked out, like he was in a trance or something like that. Then he said after a couple of minutes, there was this really, really bright like flash. And then the electrical feeling like disappeared. Now he said the creepiest thing about this was that after that shit happened, the other guy said to him, he said this really creepy. He's like, I wish I could remember what he said word for word. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but because it was like really creepy what he said. He said that his friend said they talked to me and that they said they knew what we were doing here and that they were doing the same thing, only our roles were reversed. And then he said that they told him they have the advantage and we can't stop them from doing whatever they want.
Okay.
So that's what he said his friend said. So he said that was like, he's like, I wouldn't have believed it either, but he said it was super creepy. Like the guy seemed like he was really, like in a trance, and he was like, and he said it was super creepy. So
aliens came here to send us a message that we got your ass, and they're here
We
to
got
we
your
got your
ass.
asses, and
Yeah.
we're we're running the show.
Pretty much,
You should
yeah.
be intimidated.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Now this guy apparently said, I had seen other shit before, but he's like, for some reason that really like creeped me out. I said, I'm not coming back here next summer. I don't want to work here anymore. He's like, not only is there not much going on, but also, I'm just ending up being a ranch hand pretty much. But, he's like, that was kind of creepy and I don't want to do it anymore. So that was like kind of all he said. So over the next few years, like I said, different iterations of, I think NIDS kind of went out of business, but then they opened another one, and then there was another one and all this other kind of shit. So, at this stage, who the fuck knows what's going on out there? Nobody really knows. They made a documentary about it in 2017 or 2018, and I think there's even been like a fictional movie made about it very recently. Now, before we wrap it up, let's talk about all the different phenomena that has been reported by different people over the years, because this part of the website just amused the hell out of me. So here, like I said, this was my favorite part of the website, because this is where every single like phenomena, every single manifestation of things that have been reported on Skinwalker Ranch, they've kind of broken it down into like all of the different phenomena.
So this is the meat and potatoes
and
of the
then
case?
yeah.
Okay.
And then they're saying like what your percentage chance of seeing it is.
Okay.
Like how common it is.
Okay.
This, like I said, this like it's a little graph and everything.
All
right. So here's the less crazy shit. The first one is just called the spotlight. Now this is a single spotlight similar to that on a motorcycle. Travels about 10 to 40 miles per hour. Typically hovers about 8 feet from the ground. Sometimes has a red taillight behind it, so it does kind of just sound like a motorcycle.
That's funny
taillight,
how
yeah.
it kind of sounds like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can fly over any terrain type. The terrain type. Blah.
Yeah, sounds kind of like a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Machine-like, seems to be able to read minds. I'm not sure why they think that.
Okay.
But yeah, so usual duration 10 seconds to 15 minutes. 46% chance of seeing
as a motorcycle
spotlight.
rider and builder. Okay, and expert rider. Okay, I must say that the area they're talking about is wonderful dirt bike territory.
Yeah, this is probably just a dirt bike.
All right, now maybe a 4-stroke with a good motor on it from a distance. Maybe especially if there's music playing in the background, maybe you wouldn't hear the sound of the motor.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Could be.
Just saying, could be. I'd have to see it myself.
Yeah.
Most plausible explanation, we're talking about a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ramping over things and jumping at night.
Woo-hoo.
Fun, yeah, in the headlights. Yeah, hell yeah.
Tom's already imagining it. He's like,
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go
out
down there
I'm
and
gonna
tear
go
it
out to
up.
this- Yeah.
Tear it up, yeah.
The next thing is called what are known as flash drones.
Okay.
These are pulsating spherical balls of light. The light appears bluish to yellow-green. Light it casts is not extremely bright, but it will cast light on objects immediately surrounding the orb. Typically, there's more than one orb gathered. They have the ability to hover and make no noise. That seems to be a pretty common aspect of all of these things. Now, that all sounds fine and dandy, but then comes this sentence.
Okay.
Have been seen transforming into other animal shapes, and is suspected of having the ability to morph into the shape of local living animals.
Okay, you're talking about Native American stories here is what you're dealing with. Yeah. Spirit beings and...
Like I said, it sounded plausible until that part.
Yeah.
They are...
Well, they might be conflating two things.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw some orbs in the sky. Maybe you were
Yeah.
talking about small drones. Okay. And then somebody says, oh, you know what? And they changed into animals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Depending on how much fire water you've been drinking.
Well, yeah, because you
Yeah.
saw a light in the sky and then you
Yeah.
saw a coyote or some
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, and you're just like, oh, one
Well,
thing
I wouldn't
became other thing.
read into it that much because you give me enough Kukulkan, okay, and show me a drone.
You make all...
Y'all
all
might
kind of
say,
shit.
yeah, that cat's a koala, goddammit. You know what I mean? Especially if you're interviewing me.
Yeah, I can...
Yeah, you know what I mean?
that
Under the
happening.
influence, you know. Yeah.
He says crazy shit.
Saw some lights and cat's a koala. Kukulkan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Feathered
says...
serpent. Bitch. And, if you have an investigator that I guess might, he might want to,
Imbibe?
He'll, yeah, that's right. Yes. Kukulkan sighted. Yes. Along with the feathered serpent, Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Sure.
So apparently the flash drones, it says these are unique in that they appear almost curious about any humans they come across. They tend to take on a more interactive role if the observer is alone. So there's that. 25.
If that's real, they're talking about
chance of
drones.
seeing that.
What year was this?
This is just over the course various things that have been reported.
Yeah.
They're breaking down all the different phenomena that have been reported.
I'm amazed at what some of these small commercial drones. I mean, Jenny and I'm thinking about buying a drone.
Yeah.
So we can do our reviews of the movies at the theater with, because we could walk around inside the theater with the drone following us, shooting the footage. I mean, these things are amazing. And back in the 90s, they had some cool stuff too. And a lot of people really weren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
Little remote control drones, and you could put LED lights on them or lights, and the person who wasn't familiar with it would think that maybe they were seeing something paranormal, but because they've been out for a long time now, especially the little custom ones that guys were building. And it was rumored, I thought, this guy, what was his name again? I thought that he was making drones. What's his name? Bigelow. I thought Bigelow made drones for the government. Prototype stuff,
Well, yeah, if you heard that, like I said, that's probably
I think that's what he was involved in that. I think he was a contractor.
Yeah.
But don't hold me to that. But that kind of checks out. That might have been a drone testing area.
Yeah.
And these might have been exotic prototype drones. Not only could you fly them, remote control them through cellular waves, you could also see through them. Maybe they had VR helmets. The guys are controlling them and flying around buzzing people.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, that wouldn't have been impossible. It just would have been very classified.
Yeah.
You can do that now easy. They're just not talking about it.
Well, yeah, because everybody's got one.
Yeah. You could buy the technology to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next thing is called the invisible chopper, which is pretty much just what it sounds like. You basically are walking around in the field or whatever. You hear something that sounds like a helicopter going right over your head just one time, never more than once, but you don't see it.
Yeah, a big quadcopter.
You don't see anything.
Yeah, because it's blacked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're talking about during the daytime.
No, they are talking about during the
daytime. They're talking about during the daytime?
Yeah. And sometimes this is also related to the controllers, like I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like the voices coming out of thin air. You also got your mini stealth, which, again, just as it sounds, is a little bitty craft about 8 feet by 6 feet that looks like a miniature stealth fighter.
Yeah.
These have been seen several times.
Is it starting to make sense now?
Yeah.
Good.
Now the next one, Bulletproof Wolf.
Bulletproof Wolf.
That's what we were talking about.
Bulletproof
before.
Wolf is missing your target. That's what did that. I understand it. You know what I mean? And
now,
if you don't have good firearm skills and you're fucking spooked and you got a lot of adrenaline running through you, sometimes you're not sure how many rounds you fired off. You're not sure whether you hit or not. You're doing a lot of missing. And the animal ran off, carried the bullet off with it, or just popped small bullet, flesh wound. No, stop it.
So according to this website, however, it says the bulletproof wolf has an unusually long and bushy tail, may travel within the flash drones, and manifest from them, as seen by 2 researchers.
Who requested this shit? Unsubscribe.
We're just kidding. Yeah, so Bulletproof Wolf. Then you got your controllers, which I talked about earlier. This is basically 2 male voices speaking in something that sounds like Russian or a choppy Native American type language.
Yeah.
And the voices are just coming out of thin air. Sounds like it's going through a mechanical medium, such as radio, like a CB or something like that. Generally will stop talking if they are acknowledged. Now we're getting some more weirder ones too. Here's a thing called the Dark One, which whoever wrote this website seems to think is some kind of ghost of a shaman or something like that. So it is very, very rare to see this, like 0.03% or something like that. He's described as male, always being alone, appears to be a primitive Native American, possibly Aztec in origin. He does not speak, appears to be residing outside of our known timeline, and even appears surprised at times. So yeah, there is also...
Just because you see a ghost or something like that in this zone doesn't mean that these phenomena are all related.
Yeah.
Let's just say you do see a ghost. It may not have anything to do with those drones, those UFOs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you... The place they're talking about is pretty big. It's hundreds of acres.
Yeah.
They got people living there.
And some people that have reported seeing UFO shit have been like 10 miles away or been like on neighboring properties. It's not just
it's
this
statistical.
one area. Yeah.
I think... Okay, go ahead.
Now, some people have also said that they heard like another disembodied voice that sounded like a little girl or an adolescent girl, which is also considered some type of ghost phenomenon. Actually, we didn't mention it before, but there was some other type poltergeist type phenomena, right? That you said they talked about on the documentary,
Yeah.
where like a hairbrush would vanish
Hairbrush.
and like it would turn up in a weird place, like in the freezer or
in the
something
freezer
like that.
or something like
So
that.
there is like some kind of minor ghost or paranormal act or
Yeah, but that man,
poltergeist activity.
that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna say that that's not happening. I'm gonna say that that's not related to the UFO
Yeah, it may
sightings
not
and
be.
stuff. Because the area they're talking about is big enough to where you would statistically have more than one phenomenon in it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
And what they're reporting is kind of flimsy.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it might be misidentifications and, might be, I think it's one of the kind of situations where the area is kind of known for phenomenon, so everyone is looking for phenomenon.
Yeah,
You start
I kind of
going
feel
out
like
to
that
go
might
look
be the
for
case.
phenomenon, you're going to find something eventually.
Yeah.
It's not going to be accurate.
Now here's some more shit that's going back to kind of Native American legends from the area. Apparently some people have reported seeing this type of phenomena, these things called water babies or powapicts, which are supposedly these kind of like, I don't know if they're like demons or creatures, something like that, but they sound like a crying baby. People go and investigate, and then they get sucked into the water and drown. Now, they said that some people have actually drowned in a nearby reservoir, and that these water babies might be responsible, or that this next creature called the Cthulhu slug is also responsible.
Water baby is a Native American version of a kappa.
Yeah, that's what
It's a kappa.
Yeah, it's
what they're
pretty
talking
much, yeah.
Japanese
it's
kappa,
like,
if you don't believe.
it's like a giant salamander.
Yeah, and the kappa's a giant salamander. If it
And
gets a
those-
hold of it,
those
they're
do
dangerous.
exist, actually.
They can kill a child.
Yeah.
Grab a hold of your child's hand, and go into the water and drown a child. It's probably happened.
Well, yeah, they're big enough.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
big enough. They're bigger than a small
They're
child.
scary large.
Yeah.
I didn't even I never realized that they actually existed until I saw like some video of one and stuff.
They're a
and I was just
protected
like,
animal.
Yeah, they're very big.
Yeah.
So you also got your Cthulhu slug, like I said. This is like a slug-like or snake-like creature that supposedly, like I said, drags swimmers into the nearby Bottle Hollow Reservoir. Now, this website speculates that it might be an interdimensional type Lovecraftian type creature, but you know how that whole thing goes. Also got your glow birds. Now, this is something that the Shermans also reported that they saw, like these exotic or multicolored birds that didn't seem to be native to the area. Some other people have also
Parrots.
Well, some people have also reported these other birds that are like red, or they seem to be glowing, or they are just like glowing things from far away. Always witnessed from a distance. Got your orange football. That's another UFO-like shape. It's not metallic, but it's about 15 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and is football shaped, usually seen as an orange glowing ball of plasma. Also got your sentient mist, which Bigelow and his researchers have described as a neurological electricity. That's a direct quote. Completely black in color. Takes the intangible form of a thick smoke. This is kind of like the blue haze that you saw in your thing. Smoke is described like a disembodied skin of black electrified energy that possesses an intellect. So I don't know what the hell that's all about. And then later on, I love this part too. Under the sentient mist section, I was like, somebody saw the Stephen King movie, The Mist, because it says update. So I guess somebody new has described a new thing, a new aspect of this sentient mist phenomenon. Update, described as having tentacles, which it uses to toxify its victims by inserting via the mouth and thereby suffocating the lungs with what feels like burning dust. So like I said,
where are they getting this? Did somebody report this?
Yeah, somebody reported this. So they added it to the website, hopefully.
No. All right.
Yeah. Resulting final form is believed to be a lifeless yet physically real creature, usually seen for 30 seconds. 2% chance of seeing the sentient mist with or without the tentacles. I don't know. And the last thing that was on the website is the very famous portal. And this is what the Shermans reported, said it looked like an orange thing. Now, some other people have described it like, oh, we saw the orange thing, and then we saw the blue thing. And I'm like, wasn't that a video game, though? Like with the portal with the orange and the blue? That was a video game, right? Somebody saw the video game.
I don't remember it.
And they're well, I think that's what that might be. But apparently because I think the Shermans described it as like an orange spirally looking thing, and like these little ships like came out of it and like flew around like it was kind of fucking surveying the ground or some shit like that. So this is supposedly an interdimensional portal that shit comes out of, and this is usually seen about 500 to 1,000 feet in the sky, over like near the ranch. And so there's that whole thing. I love that it says manipulation of time, space, or unique energies to create a doorway to an unknown location or reality. Usually seen for 10 seconds, 2% chance of seeing. So you have as much chance of seeing that as you do the sentient mist with the tentacles. So you got that going for you.
So what do you think of this case?
I don't know, man. Like so much. I'm not saying that maybe this particular piece of land, because I'm skeptical of UFO shit mostly. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't extraterrestrials. Maybe there are. I don't know why they would come here, why they would bother. But probably some people have seen them if they do come here. That's not totally crazy. But this place, it seems like so much crazy shit is going on. And honestly, it seems like most of the real crazy shit, like Bulletproof Wolf and all that kind of stuff,
it didn't happen.
kind of, that stems from the time that the quote-unquote Sherman family were there. So I'm not sure how seriously I can take it, because yes, other people have seen UFOs before they moved in there. Yes, other people have reported, cryptid type phenomena like before that. But there were also Native American legends about the place, reportedly. There's been UFO sightings there. So I kind of feel like maybe the seeds of something were there, but then somebody took it and kind of ran with it and came up with like crazy stories about butterized dogs and whatnot. Not shitting on anybody. I'm just saying it sounds wildly implausible.
Yeah, you want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
There's a big tract of land out there.
Yeah.
All right. It's desert. Okay, basically. Which means you have really good visibility at night. It's near Air Force bases.
Yeah.
So
not far.
So you have a high probability of seeing aircraft at night.
Yep.
And possibly an experimental aircraft at night, which leads to some UFO reports.
Yep.
Okay. And then you have wacky families moving into that area.
Yeah.
Who report even more wackier things. It's a large area. Later on, a billionaire who wants to work for the government, make drones, buys that land. Okay, to put up a research facility there, to maybe build drones and build things for the government and test them there. So it's like his own version of like S1 or S4, or something near Groom Lake. And while he's there, he needs kind of like a cover story or some kind of camouflage. So what he does is he makes kind of like a paranormal institute, okay, to cloud the purpose of the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
So to make it seem kind of hokey.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds a lot more likely.
I think that's probably what it was, is that he's building stuff there as a cover story and a camouflage. It's this hokey looking for werewolves and investigating UFOs cover story.
Yeah.
All right. Because everyone would talk about it and they would say all kinds of crazy bullshit.
And then no one would take it seriously.
No one would give a shit about it.
So you could do whatever you wanted. Like I said, he could totally be a supervillain.
It's called disinfo or misinfo. It's a cover story. That's what I think.
That sounds a lot more likely to me.
Yeah, it sounds more likely to me.
Than Bulletproof Wolves and interdimensional portals.
Well, the Bulletproof Wolves was a story made up by somebody that actually lived there, and that actually kind of helped to kind of dissuade people from looking at this kind of, oh yeah, that bullshit. There's nothing going on there. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But no, they're probably building drones there.
Or something more nefarious.
Something like that, yeah. Not nefarious. It's some kind of something for the Air Force.
Let me use my imagination.
Well, they said they saw a small stealth craft there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what a drone is.
Well, yeah.
They have one that looks like a little stealth. I forgot what it's called. And that's one of the old ones.
Yeah.
It's kind of delta wing with a jet engine in it, unmanned. It's pretty small, and it's just got cameras and you can fly it around. Fly around, and look at stuff, and shoot off hellfire missiles and shit like that out of it. That's what they're talking about.
I feel like probably 99.99% of the time when people see UFOs or hear about UFO stories, that's probably what it is. It's probably like some shit going on that's like supposed to be secret, and then they're just like, no, man, it's like aliens, and then everybody's like, yeah, whatever. It's like
Bigelow's copying what they did with what's the name of the one? Oh shit. big famous one right outside of Groom Lake there. What's it called?
What, Area 51?
Area 51. What's the name of that case?
I don't know.
Roswell.
Roswell.
Yeah. They did find something out there, and they did print in the newspapers back then that the military had found a flying saucer, or the reports of or the remains of a flying saucer. But it was a misidentification. I think it was a misprint. What they really found was a secret balloon. Excuse me. And from that time forward, they used that UFO story to camouflage what was really happening out there at the Skunk Works. They were building the SR-71 is what they were building.
Well, it seems like a smart thing to do.
Yeah, because it's like a huge distraction.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about the SR-71, they're worried about a flying saucer. An alien flying saucer.
Because if it was an alien flying saucer, that would be a lot more.
Yeah, you can't.
That'd be a bigger thing to worry about.
You couldn't hide that military installation, so you have to have another technique to shroud it.
You're like hiding in plain sight, sure.
Yeah, so you can't hide it. So what you do is you shroud it into a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Okay. To keep you from, it's like a sleight of hand trick to keep you from looking at the damn SR-71.
Yeah, because every time like you search that, then it's going to be like all these crazy conspiracy theory like YouTube videos, and everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Although I think the 71 was only one of the things that they were working on, and it was a balloon. It was a balloon that could sense detonations of nuclear bombs over in Russia. Yeah. Project Mogul, what it was called.
I've heard of that.
It was a Mogul balloon, and they didn't want to mention Mogul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because it was classified at the time.
So I think the Army Air Force said, go with the UFO story.
Yeah, run with that shit.
Yeah, let that run. And then we'll come out and say, no, it was just a weather balloon.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the deception. I think it started off as an accident, and then they went, let's roll with it.
Well, because if you say, oh, it was just a weather balloon, then all the people who wanted it to be UFO people to be like, oh, it's a conspiracy, it really was a UFO, and then they'll run with it in the other direction, and then they'll be like, hee hee, now everybody thinks it's UFOs.
Yeah, and now they don't know anything about Project Mogul. You can't get them to believe in Project Mogul, and they would never know anything about what they were working on the SR-71 at that time.
Yeah, like
the very beginnings of it.
It's ingenious.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
Bigelow
what's
probably did
going
the same thing.
Too.
Where I'm just going to go out there and build drones.
Yeah.
And
or do shit.
Doesn't want anybody to know that he's out there building
it's
drones.
like secret.
So instead, he's out there looking for UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And poltergeists.
And stuff.
Werewolves.
And they'll just talk about that.
Yeah. Which, just like we're doing right now. Ooh, meta. All right. So, you probably... Is that your second KukulCon or just your first one?
It's like 1.5.
Oh, okay. So
I topped it off.
So before you fall over out of your chair, before you get too far out into the stratosphere, we're going to wrap up this episode 125 about Skinwalker Ranch. It's a crazy story. It was a fun show, though, to do. It was like a fun show to research, too, because I was just like, really?
Even though I'm not positive that... I'm not even positive that guy was working on drones. I just seem to remember that he was working on drones from my sources.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to go look at it again. He was working on something for the government.
Yeah.
He's a contractor. Yeah. I think it was drones.
But yeah. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed our rambling, as usual, discussion. And that'll do it for episode 125. Remember, if you like the show, to like, share, subscribe on all your social media. Share with all your friends and family and everywhere else. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can go to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/13o'clockpodcast. Or you can go to our blog, which is 13o'clockpodcast.wordpress.com. And there's a link in the sidebar to a PayPal account if you'd like to give a one-time donation. Also, remember to check out our Zazzle store, zazzle.com/13o'clock. We've got like t-shirts and mason jars and all kind of fun shit. I'm going to add some more stuff over the upcoming months whenever I have time to do some new t-shirt designs. I've got a couple requests I got to work on. Also, remember to go check out my new audiobook, Faceless Villain Volume 2, which is now out in audio. And if you don't have an Audible account...
Selling like crazy. Go get that thing.
Yeah, and if you don't have an Audible account and you want me to get a bounty, like on the one that you buy, then go... there'll be a link in the description that you can click on.
Unseen Hand 2 for audiobook is
Faceless
one of the...
Villain, not Unseen Hand.
Excuse me. I'm fucking drunk. For Faceless Villain Part 2... It's one of the best rated new audiobooks.
Yeah.
And when you look at the new sections, yeah.
So everybody, thank you
everybody
for
loves it, yeah.
writing good reviews. And
Yeah.
if you buy it and like it, please
And
write a
write
review.
some more, yeah.
It really does help a lot. And I think that will do it for this episode. And that'll do it for episode 125. So we will see you next time. Bye.